actually building in Oklahoma really all day long, and it's finally kind of sinking southbound. Now that activity out west is actually moving a little bit closer this way, but you can see here they've actually influenced a little outflow boundary, and this is actually helping the storm development push much faster further south. So we're seeing the atmosphere rapidly overturn as it's pushing southeastbound into the metroplex. And I'm already seeing a 63-mile-per-hour wind gust there just south of Sanger. So these have some pretty strong winds with it right here, approaching going to be approaching the Denton area pretty soon. So we've got some over 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming out of this activity right ahead of this gust front that's happening, that's moving through the metroplex. So if we watch this the expansion view here. Good morning, everyone. So we're watching live storm coverage. You should be watching me from Facebook as well as YouTube. So I jumped on board with both of those, but we're watching this little gust front that just kind of formed out ahead of this. And like I mentioned, we're getting some winds about 63 miles an hour, just south of the Sanger region, right before this leading edge. So you're probably going to be experiencing those rapidly wind gusts. There's Sanger, so just north of there, they just clocked a 63-mile-per-hour wind gust, and that is continuing to overturn the atmosphere. You see it actually rapidly overturn here and expand. There was really nothing in Decatur, and now you've got all those numerous showers and thunderstorms developing around Bridgeport and into the Decatur region, approaching the Denton region. You got some very heavy rain into the Denison area. If they've got flood warnings, folks, I mean, a main concern, we are into flood watch. This started about 10 o'clock. It started at 10 o'clock this evening. And look at this. We've already got, a good 2 to 3 inches of rain has already fallen in Cook and Montague County. So they're already experiencing some flash flood concerns up there, and that's going to continue with another 1 to 2 inches. So there is definitely a lot of rain and a lot of high winds. This is what they call a mesoscale convective complex. It's basically a conglomerate storms that builds out west, and these typically are overnight setups, and these are typically mainly a high wind threat. So they come with very high winds, but they also come with a lot of heavy rain. So once this kind of initial, squall line, if you will, kind of moves through, and then you just have this convective banding that trails behind it. And that's what sets up the flooding concerns that will likely unfold as we move through the morning and into the morning hours. So, and this is just the beginning of it. The flood watch goes all the way until Tuesday morning, and this might be our only complex. We'll have this one come through. We might get a little bit of a lull in the morning hours, but then it ramps back up along the stalled frontal boundary, I think right along into the metroplex. And then we'll be watching another convective system come in from the northwest, and that will likely be in here towards, again, that 10, 11, 12. We're talking tomorrow night. So we might actually do this all over again tomorrow night. And then finally, that will likely move out by Tuesday morning. But we're talking a lot of heavy rain between now and then for sure. So there's the leading edge. If you're just kind of joining me, you got Gainesville, very torrential rains, a lot of heavy lightning up there, up towards the Bowie region. There's the leading band as it approaches the Bridgeport region, heading into the Graham area. So you've got the storms out west. Luckily, they're not as intense as the ones out west. I mean, we had several tornadoes. I mean, these things were really packing a punch earlier. This is a wind gust of 81 miles an hour in Amherst. This is in West Texas. And I think I posted a couple pictures. I mean, it just exploded out there just east of Lubbock, of some of these serious 5-inch hailstones out there, just dangerous type size hail. But look, they got about 5 brief touchdowns out there. And now the torrential rains, at least on the western half, is approaching just north of the Abilene area. So you've got all the storms that are still building from the west, and then you have all these storms that are still building from the north and putting that outflow boundary out ahead of it. So it's about to really turn over there in Sherman. So you're pretty quiet right now into the Sherman region, but it should start to overturn itself. And so Candy, some loud thunder there in Collinsville. No, I haven't seen any. Again, you can't really exclude a quick sped up tornado. The main concern with with our system in North Texas was the high winds, the damaging high winds, and the flash flooding. Those are the two main concerns. Sure, you can mix in some larger, some quarter size hail at times in there. And then you never can roll out a quick spin up tornado, but we don't have the intensity, at least, of the storms that we're dealing with out west. We weren't expected. We are expected to get upwards to some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts at times, and definitely some flooding concerns as this moves through the morning hours. Hey Chuck, good morning. How's it going? Hey Ryan, thanks for coming down live with the in Anson, Texas. There, yeah, you can see it overturn pretty quickly. So I think I actually posted. This is before the gust front formed. So we had that gust front form ahead of it, and this is one of the reasons actually pushing this line a little bit further south than what some of the data had. But nonetheless, we've been talking about after midnight. We talked about it all day long after midnight, and here we go. Here's the storms moving into the metroplex here. So I've got my other radar up here. All right, so we're getting some 50-mile-per-hour winds, 52-mile-per-hour winds in the city of Crum right now. All right, so right as that gust front moves through, they clocked about a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust and Crum there. So right along that leading edge, you're probably getting the initial bands of some of those higher winds. We talked about securing some of the loose objects, so I hope you ever had time to do that. To make sure everything's tucked away, that you don't have to have any damage. I know I moved a lot of my patio furniture in. I moved a lot of my plants kind of out of the way so they wouldn't get beat up with some of these high winds are going to be moving through. Hey, trying to get back to Ardmore from Durant. Well, you got, yeah, I mean, so Durant's up. I mean, ultimately, yeah, you just have to you got to ride in the rain. I mean, I don't know if you're okay or not, but as just a lot of heavy rain you're gonna have to drive through if you're going to Ardmore. Yeah, just be careful because it's definitely raining the entire time. It was some very high winds, probably blinding rain at times for you. How soon are we in Grand Prairie? Yeah, this gust front's overturn of the atmosphere fairly quick. I would probably say it would probably about an hour, a good hour. Yeah, the northern side actually might come through a little bit sooner now because that gust front's moving further south. Will it reach Fort Worth? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is going all the way down to Central Texas and into East Texas, Arkansas, Missouri. This is a pretty big setup. Hey, what about Salina? Let's see. So if we kind of zoom in here, there's McKinney, there's Salina, and you can see the gust front. So you're not that far away from the gust front. So you're probably going to be, you know, seeing those winds pick up pretty quickly here. Really, in the next like 10 minutes. Hey Kim, so you're hearing some of the winds in Anna. Yeah, it's just about, I mean, it's, yeah, Whitesboro getting some very heavy rain right there. Got a lot of the oranges and the yellows and the deeper reds. So you had that front, the gust front that moved through earlier. You're likely going to be under a flood warning. So again, mainly this is a high wind threat and a flooding concern. This isn't like a big, huge hail threat like like we were under, that last couple of times, right? So the last couple of times we were basically just kind of an isolated 30 to 40% severe major hail. If the cap busted, you get baseball size hail. If it didn't, you get nothing. This is a heavy rain event. This is a completely different setup. It's a heavy widespread 80% widespread heavy rain event and a high wind threat. It's not really a hail threat per se. You can get some larger hail, but and then you can't roll out a quick spin up tornado. So, but yes, the main concern is your high winds and your flooding rains. Yeah, and as we were speaking, actually, here's the flood warning for Durant. So again, they've got flash flooding concerns. We've got rainfall rates of almost 2 inches per hour once it starts raining. So it could pond up pretty quickly. Obviously, Oklahoma's been hit really hard over the last. They had the wettest April on record, and they've been getting every single system, it seems like, and they're actually kind of finally sharing one with us technically. So we're getting some of that Oklahoma storm that they got earlier, and that's really because of the cool front that's going to be moving southbound. So we are going to get that cooler air. We talked about it's going to be highs in the 70s on Monday. That's still going to come to fruition because we're going to be under those cloudy skies and a rainy Monday. So it's not going to be 95 like it was today. It's going to be a good 20-degree drop on Monday with the cool front and the heavy rains that are going to be around. Hey Melissa, hey, no problem. I did lay down right when they issued that severe thunderstorm watch. I laid down for like, well, I set my alarm clock for midnight. Then I happened to wake up about 11:40. Yeah, usually when they issue a watch, I know it's at least a couple hours away. They always give you plenty of heads up for a watch just to let you know we got severe weather coming. That's why they expanded it from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Doesn't mean it's going to rain the entire time or have storms the entire time. That just gives you advanced warning to prepare for severe weather coming, just like the flood watch yesterday was issued well in advance. I think that was issued around noon. It didn't even go effect until 10. So people were like, "Where's the rain? Where's the rain?" Well, it's not supposed to start until later on in the evening. They're just giving you advanced warning, letting you know we got stuff coming to get prepared. It doesn't mean a wash, just means the ingredients are ripe. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen imminently. That's what a warning is for. But yeah, if you're along that leading front, you're definitely feeling the winds. We got wind gust, those 50, 60 mile per hour wind gust easily right along that gust front, along that edge. That's moving through Crum right now. That's approaching the Crum region. You've got Bolivar, in the Sanger area. You're likely experiencing some of those 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts there. And that's continued to dive south through the Valley View region. There's Collinsville, just kind of exploded there in Collinsville. Very heavy rain, so a lot of lightning moving in. And hey, Paige, you ready for it? Yeah, sounds like hell hit my house. Let's zoom into this Collinsville because it looked like it just exploded right there into the Collinsville region. Yep, you're definitely getting some hail there into Collinsville. Nothing like substantial, but you're definitely getting some hail, some very high winds, and some very torrential rains. Just kind of exploded there over the city of Collinsville, that is south of Whitesboro. There looks like to be another pocket of energy up there towards Denison. So you're likely getting some torrential rains and some hail under that supercell right there. Hey, temps are dropping 10 to 15 degrees in Aubrey. Just got super cold. There you go. You're feeling it. And that's going to help with the that's where you got the initial push of winds, right? You have the initial push of winds, and then you just have the flood threat, right? That's it's We're under a flash flood warning. All right, so they just issued a mesoscale statement as this comes out. This complex that's tracking just south of Denton there. We got approaching, moving southbound about 25 miles an hour. So the leading edge is approaching the Providence Village area, the Westlake area, getting into Ponder, Texas, the Lake Louisville area, Bolivar, Slidell, and Lincoln Park. So you're seeing some of those stronger wind gusts pushing out ahead of the gust front that's moving through Denton. So there's a 62-mile-per-hour wind gust about an hour and a half ago on Albany. That's just southwest of Graham there in West Texas. But there's your flood warning in Cook and Montague County. They've already picked up a good 2 to 3 inches of heavy rainfall. Flooding is a huge concern, especially going to be at night, right? So we've got probably a lot of people traveling. So it is going to be one of those things. Flash flooding in the middle of the night is definitely a dangerous type setup when you can't see the road. So you could easily pick up 2 to 3 inches in a quick fashion. So you could easily pick up in some lying areas of pockets of isolated flooding. I mean, there's definitely mixed pockets of wind. I mean, some of the winds just not too far up from the surface. Some of those at times can get down towards the surface. I'm looking at some winds up 68 miles an hour between Tioga and Collinsville. Now this is likely a several thousand feet up in the atmosphere, but some of those could, you know, move down to the surface. You might shave off a good 10 to 15 off that number, but still those are definitely some higher winds, not too far up, not too far aloft. Yeah, look at this cell that just kind of blew up towards Denison and the Sherman region. So there's definitely going to be pockets at times. Just takes advantage of this very warm sector. I mean, obviously it was 95 degrees today, so we don't need to tell you the atmosphere is definitely pretty prime out there. You got high dew points in the low 70s, mid 70s for those that are experiencing the cooler air. So obviously that is going to be stabilized in the air once that kind of moves through. And so that's why we're just really concerned about this first batch of storms. The second batch would likely be just mainly a flood threat, comes through once the front moves through, and it is expected to stall probably somewhere in the vicinity around I-30, right there. And then we might have a little bit of a lull in in mid-morning once this moves through about 7 o'clock in the morning. But then in the afternoon, we should start to bubble it up right around the front. And then we'll have a new complex come through overnight tomorrow night from the northwest again to the southeast. But you can see the leading edge here. This is your what you're called your outflow boundary, your gust front. That's helping to push. That's helping to push the storms along, right? That's helping to keep continuing to push the storms further south into the metroplex here. But here's some of your bigger numbers from earlier. There's a 76 mile per hour wind gust in the city of Stamford, and they also had an 80-mile-per-hour wind gust as well, just off to its west. That was clocked by the National Weather Service employees. So they had some pretty intense storms, and you can see those are likely the strongest storms that are still out west. So you've got this very heavy band of heavy rain that's forming just west of the city of Anson and dropping some pretty some likely some larger hail and definitely some torrential rains out of that supercell. That one actually is severe as it's still out in West Texas. That still has to come through. How's it looking for Broken Bow tonight? Yeah, everything would likely kind of merge in that direction. So you've got all this activity that's going to be moving that way. So yeah, just very, very heavy rain, kind of the same deal we're going to be experiencing in North Texas. Some higher wind gust, flash flooding, a good 2 to 3 inches of heavy rain. I mean, there's flood watches for about 6 states, folks. This is an extensive, large area of a complex of storms. The Blue Ridge, Trenton area. So yeah, hadn't made it your area yet. This looks like the leading edge is Pilot Point, Gunter, Dorchester, Howell. There is Blue Ridge, Trenton area. So you're still a little ways off before it hits your area. Hey Derek, camping at Lake Ray Roberts? Yes. Yeah, you definitely had flooding concerns. I mean, pretty much everywhere, folks. We're under a flood watch and it's just getting going. So if you're camping, it's probably not going to be fun. If you're staying, there's a lot of rain coming for tonight and Monday. So it's been in the forecast for a couple of days. The flood watch goes all the way until Tuesday morning. Unfortunately, it does hit on Memorial Day, so I know you got plans, but it's definitely no fun when you're out in the camp and you've got several inches of rain and it's just raining all the time. And everything's a muddy mess. When do you think it'll hit Anna, Melissa, Van all folks? It's just that gust front's moving through. There's the city of Denton. This is pushing south. The leading edge. There's Gunter, Howell, Sherman. 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Um, Yeah, these are fast moving folks. This is a very fast moving system. Yeah, someone was asking me about some of the little bit of slight rotation that's happening just northwest of the Pilot Point region. So when I clicked over, yes, there was a pocket of rotation, but then now that it's quickly moved on. So yeah, these are going to be, like I said, these are quick spin ups for a reason. So these, sometimes it shows sometimes it shows very quick, quick circulation, but Does it have time to lower? Does it have time to go down to the surface? These are very quick moving. So what we're seeing, 2 minutes ago, it wasn't there to the northwest. So it's already moved on. But there's definitely some high winds that is moving through the Pilot Point region right now. Again, up aloft, we're getting about 2 to 3,000 feet. We're getting about 68 miles an hour right now in the city of Pilot Point. So there's definitely some pretty intense winds coming out of those regions. Hey, almost this time last year, we had a hectic weather. Yeah, this is the time of year. Remember, I mean, this is not a stranger. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts is definitely no stranger. So when we look at it on the storm relativity vorticity index, there you can see the wind gust, right? So this is your wind field that's moving through Denton. So these areas are likely getting some of those higher winds, much higher up above, about 2 to 3,000 feet. Sometimes some of those winds can sink down to the surface. So where you see these white areas, that is your higher wind gust. So Sanger, Valley View, into the Denton region. There's Union Hill. There's also out of Collinsville right now. So these are definitely pockets of higher winds between Whitesboro and Collinsville at the moment. And you can see the leading edge of this right here. This is the leading edge of these stronger winds. Sherman, Howe, Gunter, Little Elm, Corinth, back behind it. So and these are the pockets of the stronger winds that you're likely experiencing right now. Hey, sounds crazy there in Gunner. Yeah, so you're in the higher wind field now, so you're experiencing what I'm kind of talking about, right? So if you're under that, if you're hearing outside some of the stronger winds, the trees whipping, the windows rattling a little bit. Yeah, Gunner, you got no power right now. So yeah, there's definitely some high winds that are moving through the Metroplex right now. How's Valley View going through the night, and when will it end? It just started, folks. When will it end? The flood watch goes until Tuesday morning. So we've got this initial band, and then we've got rounds of precipitation that are going to trail behind it. So this is literally just kind of the beginning. But the initial part is going to be the strongest part with the higher winds. Hey, heavy rain right now in the city of Gordonville. I've got two radars I'm kind of looking at. I'm keeping it on the storm velocity index. And this kind of shows you the leading edge of where the gust front is a little bit better. And it also highlights some of the stronger wind gusts that are going to be popping up at times. Hey, Rebecca, Sherman getting some heavy rain and some high winds right now. Just heard the first rumblings, Corey, and Salina. The wind is about to take off my trees, take off with my trees. No, we got multiple rounds. This is actually multiple rounds. This is not going to be the only round. It's kind of a longer duration event. We got this initial push moving through, and then we have the front that's going to stall somewhere within the Metroplex. And then that's where you're going to have bands and waves of precipitation that's going to be trailing along the front. Hey, Tyler. No, storm's moving south. This is not coming from the It's not coming from south to north. This is definitely coming from north to south. It's a cold front, guys. The cold front moves south. The cold front is moving south ahead of the gust front, and the front is going to stall somewhere along, probably somewhere along I-30, somewhere in this vicinity. So we're looking for this front to stall somewhere along this vicinity. Could be a little bit further south. But then that's when we're going to have waves and waves of precipitation is going to be trailing from the west, go over the front. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of lightning for this, for sure. There's definitely a lot of lightning with that leading edge, which is actually approaching Prosper. So if you're likely experiencing some of the higher winds right now in Salina, we know we are in Gunner. We're getting reports of the power out right now. The leading edge is now into Oak Point, Corinth, now approaching the Little Elm region, getting very close to the city of Prosper now. It's actually through the city of Justin into Fairview. But it's right here, folks. It's actually in Denton County. This is where we're experiencing some of the initial higher wind gusts that's coming out of this piece of energy here. It's really not west. It's actually right a little bit closer to home into Denton and portions of Collin County here. Yeah, so there's Whitesboro Business 377. You see that pocket of high winds here right along Highway 82 here near Sadler and Southmaid. No, we don't have actually any severe warnings, but you can get some stronger wind gust, some downburst winds, some stronger wind gusts out of this. We are experiencing some of those stronger winds, but no, we don't have any warnings on it right now. So you're just south of Whitesboro. Are you are you picking up some of the high winds? Can you verify that you're actually getting some pretty high winds in the city of in Whitesboro right now? This would be south of 82. There's business 377 right in this corridor here. Hey, appreciate the shares, appreciate the like buttons. Thanks for watching. I know it's early. It's 1:15 in the morning. I know you're asleep. You're probably maybe even watching me from your phone while you're in bed. So appreciate you watching live coverage with me. But I wanted to come on board live with you because we are getting some higher winds that are going to be moving through the metroplex. So when the windows start rattling and everything in the middle of the night, and so you're not like, what's going on? You can kind of tune into live coverage and you can get kind of the play-by-play of what's happening. Yeah, it's definitely getting really close to Prosper now. Yeah, there's that initial push. There's Highway 380, Aubrey, the Pilot Point region, Crum, Denton. So it's raining now pretty good in Denton. There's the gust front. So the gust front is still about 5 miles ahead of the main line. So you're getting some high winds in the west Denison now. So there's the gust front that's moving through Justin, Highland Village, Little Elm. So you'll get the initial push, and then you'll get the wave of heavy rain back behind it. Yeah, the severe stuff continues to remain out west. You've got high winds moving through the metroplex now, but the main system is still out west. That has to still move through the metroplex here. And you can see this is the one that has a 70-mile-per-hour tag on it. So we've got 70-mile-per-hour winds, a considerable threat out there in West Texas. This is the main piece of energy. We've got Jones and Shackleford County out there in West Texas. Some 70-mile-per-hour winds moving eastbound at 30 miles an hour just north of Albany. So this is going to be heading into the Breckenridge region. So this is likely going to be extended into the Breckenridge region with those 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. But those are the more intense winds that we were talking about that was going to arrive overnight. That still has to that's still building, and you see it still back building back behind it. So this is your stronger piece of energy that still has to move through here. Plano. Yeah, not too far away in Plano now. So you got the gust front pretty clear at the moment, but just isolated activities, likely trying to pop up here. You got the gust front that moved through Corinth, and then you have the leading edge right now in the 380 corridor. So very heavy rain in Denison, Sherman, up along the Red River there, right in those Red River counties. That's where most of the flooding is now. Obviously, that's where it's coming from. It still has to move further south. Hey, just started pouring here in Denton on 380 and Loop 288. Coming down pretty hard right now in West Prosper. So you're feeling the initial push. All right, so there's West Prosper. There's 428, 1385. So those heavier rains are now in Salina as well. Gunner, Dorchester are going to be approaching Howe. Hey, pouring pretty good right now, Little Elm. But we have the initial push of storms that is now moving through the metroplex. A lot of lightning with it. Some very heavy rain. We've got pockets of flash flooding. We've got a good 40 to 50-mile-per-hour wind gust. At times, likely trying to gust higher than that. We've seen pockets of higher winds. We've seen subtle signs of rotation at times. But right now, the higher wind gusts are in Sanger, Denton, those areas around 2164, 3163. On the edge of Howe and Van Alstyne, and we had some wind and rain, but it's light, feels like just the edge. Yeah, the tornado threat is just very, very low. Well, yeah, I mean, they're not as intense as they were earlier. Bye-bye from what? I mean, yeah, we're not trying to compare it to the baseball and softball size hail West Texas had. They were never supposed to be that intense. Yes, some higher winds and a flood threat for the Metroplex. Yeah, we had that massive hailstone earlier. It was estimated 5.5, 6 inches in diameter. Obviously, that will be tested and certified. It has to go through a number of different channels, but um, That's that if that verifies, that would be the biggest hailstone we've seen so far this year, 5.5 to 6 inches. That's not the state record. That was last year, 7.25. We actually broke the state record every single year for the last 4 years. So they really upped the ante last year at that 7.25 hailstone. But you can see that initial push heading towards Roanoke now. There's Flower Mound, Highland Village, Little Elm, approaching the Colony area, Frisco, Prosper now. So that's moving through the city of Prosper. Yep, definitely inching close to Allen now. Not too far away. There's a 121, the I-21 Highway 121 corridor here. If you live in Frisco, you're probably going to hear the high winds approaching your area. Yeah, dead quiet, and that's the calm before the storm, Michael. Yeah, it's you probably not feeling anything. South Frisco, not too far away here. It's always really quiet before the storm hits. So there you go. There's the tollway. There's Preston Road. I don't know, Main Street, Main Street. So not too far away now. Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, it's nothing to be too scared about, Jeremy. We're just doing live coverage, let you know what's happening. This is some high winds and some flooding rains. Hey, it's coming down pretty good in Dorchester. Hey, weather on the go. You're up. Of course you're up. You stay up anyways. You know me. I had to take a little nap. I'm an early bird. I'm not used to this late night stuff. This is typically when I sleep. But I'm usually up by 4 or 5 most mornings. But definitely not at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey, getting pounded right now in Sherman. Yeah, we've been looking forward to this MCS come through. It's not missing us this time. There's not going to be a bust. No one's not going to get any rain. Not going to didn't rain at my house type stuff. Yep, it's definitely coming to Frisco for sure. Sanger lightning like crazy right now. All right, so there's Sanger right along I-35 there. You've got some pretty yeah, a lot of lightning strikes. You're still getting some high winds over the city of Denton. You're likely getting the strongest winds right now. Power is out in Sherman, so I'm definitely hearing a lot of guys. I mean, Sherman, areas of Gunner. So I'm definitely hearing some power outages out there. Hugo, Oklahoma, near Paris, Texas, has major lightning going on. Some dude in Blue Ridge is worried about winds in a trailer. All right, so I just got an alert. Lightning's about 3 miles from my house now, so not too far away. You're starting to get some high winds, Paul, in West McKinney. I haven't quite heard it just yet, but it's not too far away for sure. Outflow boundaries moving in through my house right now. Appreciate it. That's West McKinney. I think you're in the West Ridge area. But yeah, here's the initial push, pushing through Flower Mound, Roanoke, the Colony area. And the stronger winds still lag behind it. So that's right over Corinth, Denton, Sanger, Aubrey. Those areas are getting some of the higher winds right now. No, we're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock. So the severe thunderstorm watch, I mean, sorry, five o'clock in the morning. Yeah, here's your yeah. So there's your watch. Those areas in red here. So the watch goes on for another 3.5 hours. So this is the official watch. Has some scattered large hail up to 1.5 inches diameter. We haven't really seen any hail so far tonight. Uh, they can't roll out a tornado or two. Definitely can't roll out, in possibility. It's really the winds, folks. It's just some of the higher wind gusts, isolated significant gusts to 80 miles an hour. So that's the official severe thunderstorm watch. Pockets, isolated areas could approach some 80 miles an hour between now and say 5 o'clock in some isolated area. So we haven't seen that. We haven't had any severe thunderstorm warnings. But the main push is this area here. This is the most intense winds that hasn't entered the severe thunderstorm watch area as of yet. So this may be the winds we're high, warned for the severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 5 o'clock. Hey, Sarah, winds are picking up in Virginia and Custer. Hey, not much going on outside in Louisville. Yeah, just hadn't hit Louisville yet. Is it going to hell in Princeton? I mean, we haven't. It might be some pocket change hail, some nickel size hail. We haven't seen any larger hail as of yet. That's still mainly out west. But the hail threat is not the biggest concern with this. Extreme winds near Salina and Weston. Yeah, so you're getting that initial push of the gust front that's moving through. So that's what you're experiencing right now. Everything looks great outside. The birthing center, just a little rain. I mean, it's not exaggerated. There's an 81 mile per hour wind gust in Stanford. That was not not too long ago. 80 miles an hour earlier this evening. And this is the main push that's moving, that's still out in West Texas, that's approaching the severe thunderstorm watch area. So the watch is a pretty big area. You get one or two pockets of 80 mile per hour winds. It's up to 80 miles. It doesn't mean everybody's going to get 80 miles an hour winds. It just means it has the potential over that wide area of someone getting some 80 mile per hour winds. So yeah, it's not that far fetched with this piece of energy right here, because it's already verified out just west of there. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, about 1,800 people watching me right now. Yeah, it is definitely early. I appreciate it, y'all. I know you're probably sleeping, or at least trying to sleep. You're probably hearing some of those high. Okay, so here we go. We got our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day. So the winds are definitely starting to pick up along this edge. So this is our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day. So those high winds that we've been talking about over Denton are now pushing into Flower Mound. So this is Wise. There's pieces of Wise, Denton, Tarrant, Collin, and Dallas County. So storm complex over the city of Southlake, moving south at 25 miles an hour, can approach some of those 60 mile per hour winds. So it's been building. It's definitely been building up there, and now it's some of those higher winds are trying to sink a little bit closer down to the surface. But it does include Denton, and they have likely the strongest winds right now over the city of Denton. So we just now got our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day. This is for Denton and Flower Mound moving south. This is due south. So this is the complex that's coming from Oklahoma that's produced the outflow boundary, the gust front out ahead of it. And now it continues to push south, and the winds are increasing as they push further south into the Metroplex. So we've got much of Denton, Flower Mound, Carrollton, Bedford, the Fort Worth area, Irving, Dallas. All those areas are under that severe thunderstorm warning for these higher winds that are moving into the area. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm looking at a little bit higher up. I mean, 78 miles an hour. So you got the beam that has to shoot from Fort Worth down in Burleson and shoot upwards to Denton. So it's a pretty good ways. So you're talking several thousand feet up in the atmosphere that we're getting 78 mile per hour winds right now over Denton. So some of that is starting to filter down to the surface and turning severe. So this is what we're talking about. The winds are building aloft and lowering and pushing down a little bit lower in the atmosphere, down to some of the surface levels. And so now that is justifying the severe thunderstorm warning that's taken effect over the city of Denton, with the most severe winds right now that are pushing due south. So it's right over 380, Copper Creek, getting into Mayfield. Those areas will pass through Corinth, Argyle, Hickory Creek, going to be over Bartonsville, Flower Mound. You're definitely getting some higher winds that are building further south. Hey, Mandy, extremely crazy winds right now. Power just went off in Salina. All right, so I'm starting to get more and more reports of, at ground level that they're feeling the effects of some of these higher winds now. So you're feeling the effects. We got power out in Gunner, we've got power out in Sherman, pockets of power out and elsewhere. So there's definitely we're definitely getting impacted now, and it looks to be increasing as we get into the wee hours of the morning, if you will. Remember, the watch goes until 5 o'clock. So we got two pieces of energy we're watching. We've got the complex that's coming from Oklahoma, and then we have the complex that's still building out in West Texas. And these are the two that are likely going to merge right over the Metroplex. We had a kind of a fast forward approach with the gust front that formed out ahead of it. That allowed this storm complex to kind of push southbound, ahead of the main line out west. Hey, wind is sounding pretty intense in Ponder right now. Yeah, so here's the city of Ponder. So this is what we're talking about, this white area, which seems to be expanding. There's definitely more white than I've seen since we've been doing live coverage. So it's Pilot Point, Tioga, Salina, Prosper, Little Elm, Oak Point. These are all areas that are getting some high winds right now that are moving southbound. Yeah, power went off again, and rolling thunder and wind in Salina right now. Huge winds, lightning and thunder. No rain yet, just north of 380 and 75. Oh my, wow. Wow, 88 miles an hour. So these winds are really picking up, folks. Higher up in the atmosphere, these winds are really, really picking up now. Hey, charge your devices. Hey, that's a loft. It is a loft. That's not at the surface, but that is a loft. But some of these winds are definitely picking up. We went from 73 to 88 now. That's not at the surface, but that's a lot. But these winds are definitely picking up. Yes, what it's seeing is this is your radar beam, and in Burleson here. So it has to shoot all the way this trajectory. So the angle of the beam is going to be off a little bit. So it's going to be about several thousand feet up in the atmosphere by the time it gets there. So uh, that's what it's seeing. So it's seeing some of those high winds of loft. So that's not that. And some of those winds are starting to push down to the surface. You see what I'm saying? This is why they moved from a mesoscale discussion to a severe thunderstorm warning to justify some of those winds pushing from aloft down, filtering down into the surface here. But here's the winds we're talking about right here. This pocket right here. These are your most intense winds right now. If you live in this corridor, you know what I'm talking about. Um, as this continues to push southbound at 25 miles an hour. All right, so I'm starting to see the overturn. I'm starting to hear the high winds starting to pick up outside my window now. But that line is pretty extensive. It goes on for a ways, so it's going to keep this storm. It's going to keep these storms pushing south. There's no question. These are going to continue to push further south easily. I mean, it's already pushing into what is that? Capel, Euless. All right, so it's really starting to pick up outside my window now. So again, right now, if you're just kind of tuning in, folks, we've got some high winds that are moving through the Metroplex. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, Dallas, and Fort Worth. So this is a complex of storms that's been building up there in Oklahoma, dumped some 2 to 3 inches of rain, and the winds have been increasing as we've been watching this move southbound. So we had the little gust front that formed out ahead of it. And then we had some high winds, started around 60 in the higher levels, bumped to 70. Now we're in the 85 mile per hour range, several thousand feet up in the atmosphere. And some of those are now allowing to be sinking to the surface here. So that's why they went ahead and upgraded this to a severe thunderstorm warning, mainly for the winds, not really for the hail, but the winds that are pushing out of Denton. And you're going to be experiencing some of those winds in Corinth, into the Flower Mound area, Little Elm. You can see it rapidly overturning here in Flower Mound. Crazy winds right now in Prosper. Yeah, so we're getting more, ground truth that the winds are now reaching the surface now. So some of those higher winds are now reaching the surface. And then you can also get some collapsing winds. So this is all got to fall apart at some point. So downburst winds in this type of situation, a microburst is not out of the question. So that's something that you have to be on guard for as well. So it's these winds is, if they lose its punch, those winds in the higher levels have to go somewhere. And so they usually go down to the surface. And those typically can take out trees. They come from the top. So they're not a straight line wind event. They're more of a downburst or a microburst. They basically come and would split a tree in half and then split it on either side. All right. So the winds are really starting to pick up here. So it's really turned downhill now in Prosper, Salina, West McKinney, getting some blinding rain now. But yeah, there's the leading edge. I mean, everybody from Gainesville to Whitesboro to Sherman to Howe. Wow, look at all that lightning over Gunner, Howe. Yeah, very heavy rain. A lot of lightning with this. Salina, Weston, Anna approaching Melissa now. There's Prosper, Aubrey, Oak Point. Still, the most intense winds are Denton, but it's pushing southbound now. So now it's going into Roanoke. So you're likely going to see some of those higher winds push into the Roanoke area, Flower Mound area, Justin, Highland Village. Hey, getting really windy right now in Anna. So yes, live storm coverage, folks. You're listening to me from Facebook as well as YouTube. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Facebook. I do a lot of updates. I post a lot, right? I post a lot. So I don't think anybody can tell you. I keep you updated. Yeah, winds are insane right now on Van Alstyne. So there's the initial push, folks. So it continues, to push through the Metroplex. It's now in McKinney, Sherman, covering a wide area of Grayson County, Denton County, and now Collin County. So this is approaching Dallas County. So this is continue to push. Now going to be heading towards, the airport, the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport here. We are under that severe thunderstorm warning. All right, Little Elm. It looks like Little Elm is getting the most intense winds right now. So Little Elm, I'm seeing 85 aloft, 85 aloft. So that's easily probably, 65 miles an hour there if you transferred that down to this from some of the higher levels. But yes, that's where the pocket of high winds has moved over the city of Little Elm right here. This is Little Elm. We see that just solid white. Those are the most intense winds. Hackberry Creek, 720, El Dorado Parkway. Those areas, you're likely definitely getting some very high winds here. All right, so wow, it's really picked up at my house now. Yeah, so some of the intense winds are really coming through my house, through my area now. My lights are starting to flicker. So if I lose power, folks, again, I use an outside server, so you'll probably see me if I freeze, that means I lost power. So but wow, really intense winds right now. I'm just hitting it, pound my windows out there. All right, so it's 1:49 in the morning. So if you're just now kind of waking up and hearing some of the blinding rain out there and the high winds, we are getting it, folks. We are under a severe thunderstorm warning over Denton. Little Elm is getting the highest winds right now. A lot of lightning strikes. You're likely experiencing some wind damage, probably some straight line wind damage, some fence damage, some tree damage. This is why we urged you to secure loose objects. Flags out there, patio furniture, trampolines, anything that could be like flying projectiles over in the middle of the night. This is what we warned about, these high winds that are moving through the Metroplex right now. Hey, Stephanie, hitting Melissa right now. You haven't even gone to bed yet. I know it's definitely hard to go to bed when it's pounding your window and you don't really know what's happening out there. And so this is why we're doing live coverage, folks. I mean, this is why I'm on. So when you wake up and you can go on my page and say, hey, it's Ponder's on. He's got us covered. We're doing live coverage. It's mainly a wind threat. So this is exactly what's happening through the Metroplex. And a rain threat. This is what we're going to be unfolding through the morning hours. So we're seeing definitely some higher winds through Denton, Corinth, Little Elm, Flower Mound, the Highland Village area, Roanoke, and McKinney. So there's got Melissa, there's Anna, Tom Bean. Now it's almost in Trenton. So everybody's kind of getting it. It's really expanding pretty quickly. Sherman. And then it's approaching, going through there into Allen there, approaching the city of Allen. You're going to be in Plano here shortly. You lost some power in 380 here. It just might sound like a tornado, folks. I mean, there's just some very high winds moving through the area. So sometimes the winds can be approaching tornadic activity. Yeah, those are aloft, folks. If you're seeing those 90-mile-per-hour winds, that is aloft. That is not at the surface. But I see what you're talking about in the colony. This is the area that we've been highlighting. Yeah, I mean, it's 85 miles an hour aloft just north of Little Elm. So yes, there's definitely intense winds out there that's starting to get impacted down to the surface. Sorry, I'm making a post. All right, so we're continuing to watch this complex build. This is a convective complex. This is one of those mesoscale convective complexes that you likely get this time of year. This is the end of May. You start getting these northwest flow type setups, and these are typically come in the overnight hours, and then they end as a flood risk. So they start off as an initial wind threat of straight line winds and downbursts or microburst winds is what we're experiencing, and then they end with a flood threat. So this is exactly what's unfolding, and we may go through this same thing tomorrow night. So there's definitely some data there that we could be looking at kind of a similar setup tomorrow night, and this is why we have the flood watch that goes all the way until Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning, um, but yeah, right now, first and foremost, those high winds are in Gunner, West McKinney, Little Elm, Frisco's getting pounded right now. The Colony, getting into Louisville, Lake Highlands. Yeah, those. If anything, it looks like it's holding its own, if not increasing even a little bit. So I'm surprised they haven't upped the ante on this severe thunderstorm watch. So or warning. I mean, this is again, this is a Sunday night, folks. This is why I'm doing live coverage because there's really not that many people available. It's Sunday night going into a Memorial Day. Um, there's likely, not a full time crew at the National Weather Service right now, so they're not probably putting out some of the warnings that they maybe needed if you had a full staff here. So, but we are getting some intense winds. There's no question about it. Moving through the Metroplex right now, through Flower Mound, Carrollton, Frisco, through the McKinney region and Denton. I mean, I'm hearing it outside my window. It's just pounding with the rain. Not hearing any hail. Not that's not really a concern. I'm not hearing too much hail out of this deal, but it's just mainly the straight line winds and some of the microburst winds that are likely going to unfold out of this. But there's the initial push that was brought on by the gust front that's pushing out ahead of it. We've been talking about after midnight. Here we are after midnight, and it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and we've got the intense, likely up approaching 70-mile-per-hour winds through the Metroplex right now, which was forecasted, right? So this is well forecasted, well in advance through the city of Howe, Gunner, Corinth, Flower Mound, the Denton area, Decatur. Those areas are getting pounded with the torrential rains right now. Some of the higher winds that are moving through those areas. Conditions go downhill pretty quickly. You might get the calm before the storm. If you're listening to me from Bedford, Irving, those areas, you're like, what rain? There's nothing going on. It's still as a cucumber out here. So, but things rapidly change. You got the gust front that moves through. So you have the initial push of high winds, and then you have the heavy rain, and then the pocket of higher winds are back behind that. So yes, the initial push, the leading edge of that one, those winds are in the Valley Ranch area now, the Capel area, Flower Mound, Roanoke, 1709. Hey, it's ramping up in McKinney. All right, so I'm getting more power flashes now. But yeah, McKinney is taking a beating right now. The city of Melissa. There's Anna up here in Anna. They're actually getting some high winds too as well. So right along County Road 366, you got Highway 5 there, 455, Highway 75. Yeah, if anything, this looks to be kind of intensifying as it's going through the heart of the Metroplex. The lightning is really expanded. I mean, look at all those just massive area of lightnings over Sherman, between Sherman and McKinney. So we got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning for McKinney and Collin County. So this is the winds that we've been talking about that's highlighted over McKinney right now, moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. So it continues to pull some of those higher winds that we're building aloft that we've been talking about. Now they're transferring down to the surface. This is moving southeast at 30 miles an hour, likely some mixed nickel size hail in there, but some higher winds are moving through going to be going into Rockwall County, Collin County, and then so those areas out towards Princeton, Lowry Crossing, the Wiley area, Lucas around 205. So about another 6 minutes. Things are going to be going downhill rapidly. You're going to be starting to hear, experience some of those higher wind gusts, that torrential rains approaching your area. Farmersville around 2:10 in the morning. So all those areas that include Westminster, Frog Knot, into the St. Paul area, Lake Ray Hubbard into Altoga, Weston, Blue Ridge, Lake Lavon, and Josephine. So those areas will likely be under the gun of some of those higher winds. So really, no one's going to miss out on this deal, folks. Everybody is going to get at least a piece of the higher winds, and definitely some of the torrential rains that are going to be falling back behind it. So you can see back behind it, we've got the flood warning. So it's kind of a whole step down process. We've got flood warnings highlighted across the Red River, and those are pushing, a little bit further south. And we still got the west stuff that's still, still approaching as well. So that hasn't gone away either. So you got Breckenridge has their own severe thunderstorm warning. So they got their own high winds to be dealing with now. So this one's moving due east. So this one's likely going to, head towards the Mineral Wells area, the Weatherford area into Fort Worth. So that still has to kind of merge as these systems kind of merge together there. Hey, the wind and rain is so loud, it's reminding me of hurricanes I've been through in Florida. Hey, Anthony. What time will it hit Celeste? Probably about 30 minutes or so. You're not too far away. So there you go. You've already got a flood warning. So it hasn't been over this area very long, folks. We've got flood warning that just now issued. This was, high winds and flood is the main concern. Denton and Wise County are now under a flood warning. So a flood warning, they've already picked up 1 to 2 inches of rain across that region, and another 1 to 2 inches is expected. So just be very careful. There's likely going to start here, some ponding on the roadways. Hopefully not terribly too many people are out in the roads. Hopefully a lot of people are going to be off for Memorial Day. It is a national holiday. So hopefully most people are at home, but I'm still sure there's some still out in the roads. If you got to be out there, just be extra cautious because we've got, now ponding and flooding is going to be kind of building up on the roadways there. Hey, streets are definitely flooding. Frisco, Little Elm area. Hey, Junior. Hey, appreciate the report. Yes, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I know the people at the bars are still out there, so that's what even makes it more dangerous, that they got to drive home in this stuff. Hey, just received a call from Weather Call. Awesome. That's the Weather Call service. Hey, power flash, Lake Forest and Hardin. Hey, you lost your power in Prosper now? Hey, I'm wide awake watching my husband sleeping like a baby. Yeah, I know. My wife was just going to bed when I was waking up. Of course, I waking up is like 11:45. But yeah, I laid down around 10:15 right after they issued the severe thunderstorm watch. I was like, it's probably time for me to get an hour or two of sleep. Set my alarm clock for midnight, and I woke up about 11:45. But yeah, we had the gust front that formed. This is what started it all, pushing it further south. Hey, got my call. Awesome, Kenny. Thanks everyone that's that has signed up for Weather Call. Yeah. Hey, power flashing in Princeton right now. Do I need to worry about high winds between Jacksboro and Denton, Texas? You probably already had them. I mean, you had that initial push. Yeah, I mean, mainly it's off to your east. It's right in the center part here. This is, I mean, Denton, Flower Mound. I mean, it's holding its own. Has not gone down. If anything, it's likely trying to, get a little bit expansive in coverage. But yes, there's the leading edge into Colleyville, the Bedford area, Euless, Irving, Keller, Carrollton, but definitely Flower Mound and Denton. I mean, Denton's been taking a beating here. There's got to be a lot of wind damage here in Denton. Hey, the wind is just howling right now in Allen. I can hear the flag in the front. Crazy pounding rain right now in the high winds. Still crazy windy in Oak Point. Yeah, I posted the link for Weather Call on there. If you guys, I know a lot of people have signed up, greatly appreciate it. But it's definitely a service, tinyurl.com/pal weather call. It's like $15 a year, but it'll let you know if your address is in a warned area. You'll get a call, a text, and an email letting you know. So it's a great service. It has like 6 different warnings on there. So for areas that are in Denton, they got the initial severe thunderstorm warning, and then they got the initial flood warning. So they've had 2 warnings now issue from Weather Call, letting them know their area is in a warned area. Not just a call, but a text in. If you include it, you can also get it emailed as well. So, but yeah, it's a great service, and it's just $15 for the entire year. Hey, it's picked up again in Prosper. But yeah, I'm approaching a 3/4 of an inch. I'm 3/4 of an inch right now, and it really hasn't been raining in my house that terribly that long. So yeah, this is how you get flash flooding, folks. Yeah, 4,000 people. Yeah, I got 4,000 people. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, folks. I greatly appreciate you watching live coverage. Yeah, so we're doing live coverage for some of the higher winds right now that are moving through the Metroplex. We've got several severe thunderstorm warnings in place over Denton and Collin County. So there is a confirmation now. So a confirmation over the McKinney Airport. McKinney Airport just had a clocked recorded wind gust of 61 miles an hour. So yes, we're getting more and more confirmation. Some of those higher winds are filtering down to the surface now and getting to the airport, where they can record the official site. The initial push in Dallas hasn't made it to DFW, but at McKinney Airport, they have clocked in at 61 miles an hour. So we don't likely probably have, chasers out here in the morning. So we're not getting ground truth from any other reports. So, but the initial airport. So once this hits Denton or DFW, we'll get a report from a ground report from the DFW airport. Yeah, I knew this was going to be kind of a skeleton crew coverage event. There weren't going to be a lot of people talking about it because of the time of day, right? I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning on a holiday, right? Bad timing for the weather. But that's not stopping Mother Nature. It's going to do her thing. And right now she's putting some damage over North Texas in the form of high winds that are moving through and a straight line wind damage. You've got some microbursts coming out of Denton. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of fence damage, tree damage, some shingle damage, and Denton. There's no question. So it's been very windy now for a good 30 to 45 minutes across that region. And it's pretty much locked over Denton, Oak Point, Corinth, Colony, the Flower Mound, Roanoke, Keller. I mean, it's expanding pretty wide. Bedford, Colleyville, we know Plano, McKinney, Prosper. It's a really big area now. So this wind field is really blowing up over North Texas now. Yeah, other than just a little pea-sized hail in the Metroplex right now, that's all they're experiencing. The larger hail is still out west towards Graham. Yeah, please check your fencing before letting the dogs out. That's a great comment there. So you got to realize you don't know what happened in your backyard. So it's nighttime, so just be careful. There's probably going to be some boards loose, some fences down. Just it's something to make aware of. If you wake out, let the dog out early to go to the bathroom, in a couple hours or so. Yeah, this is not really a tornado threat. This is mainly a straight line wind of threat and downburst winds. Again, you can't ever rule out a spin up tornado in this type of atmosphere. But the main concern is some of the higher winds that are moving through the metroplex and just the heavy rains. We're going to stack these flood warnings. We're gonna stack them all the way further south. So these flood warnings are going to build likely in Dallas and Fort Worth over, deeper in the morning. These will likely build into Cleburne, Burleson, Waxahachie. This would likely be extended as this keeps pushing further south, and we'll still have to see what's to come out west as this complex of storms still has to come out from out west as well. So I don't want you to forget about that complex, because we've got this one that's getting closer as well. Yeah, storming in Gainesville. Yeah, it has been, right? So I woke up. It was actually already raining in Gainesville when I woke up about 11:45, maybe even before that. Yeah, so Gainesville's been they've been at it. They've been at it for a while now. All right, let's look at some of these totals here. Yeah, so there's Bowie. Look at that. We got 4 inches there in Bowie. We got pockets in Decatur over 3 inches. This is right along 380 here. There's Denton. There's Gainesville, 2 to 3 inches. Gunner, Howe, 2 to 3 inches. Yeah, it has not been raining very long, folks. We've already got a couple of inches of rain. And there's the initial push into Justin, Ponder. Yeah, good inch and a half. We've had a good inch and a half in Little Elm already. Frisco, a good inch. There's McKinney, a good inch of rain. So it's already had at least an inch of rain, and then pockets of 2 to 3, up to 4 inches already. Crum, a good 2 to 3 inches. Hey, seriously, feels like the longest storm ever. So crazy up here in Denton County. Yeah, those winds have been over. I agree. As those winds have been over your area for a good 45 minutes, maybe if not longer than that. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit, but you still probably got a good 20 minutes left. Most of the winds are pushing further south into Denton now, but you're still locked in it. Hey, power out in Allen right now. Is McKinney out of the woods? No, I mean, it's pouring at my house. All right, so here's McKinney. You got the deeper reds over Fairview, McKinney, Melissa. There's Anna. Look at all the lightning over Melissa right now. Wow. That is some crazy amount of lightning, literally from McKinney to Melissa to Anna to Hal to Tom Bean. A lot of intense lightning strikes here. New Hope. But yeah, if you kind of zoom in, this is right up Highway 75. So right along Highway 75 is taking a beating right now from Fairview to McKinney, all the way up through, towards Melissa, and then up all the way into Anna, to Van Alstyne, to Hal. Yeah, power outage in McKinney near the airport. So we got that severe thunderstorm warning for Denton and Collin County. We've got some high winds that are continuing to move through those areas. And that's going to continue, right? So we've got the initial front. So there it's pushing through Weatherford. If anything, this is expanding. This is the line Weatherford, Fort Worth, into Dallas, into Garland. So if you're watching me from those areas, you're likely going to see conditions go downhill fairly quickly now as these winds are moving out. We've got the gust front that likely overturns the atmosphere. So you get the initial, you've got pretty calm, right? So you're probably like calm skies right now, just very warm and humid in the middle of the night. But then you got the initial push. That's the gust front. This is about 5 to 7 miles ahead of the leading edge of rain. And then back behind that, then you have the higher winds that push through. So this warning would likely be extended. So it goes on for about another 12 minutes. And yes, this would likely be extended to Burleson, Cleburne, Waxahachie. This is going to be extended, as well as the one in Garland, Plano. That also is likely going to go towards Mesquite, Terrell, likely towards the West Tawakoni area. That would likely be extended as well. And then, of course, we got the flood warning that builds behind that. So you got, a good 1 hour of rainfall, and then you've got the flood warning that ensues, because it only takes about an hour to get a good nearly 2 inches of rain, of these torrential rains that hit your area. Hey, Melissa. Yeah, the wind just hit. Wow. Uh, yeah, Bonham area. So you're up in Bonham. So there's Honey Grove. There's the city of Roxton, Wolf City. Yeah, everything's kind of moving your direction as well. There's Bonham along Highway 82. But yeah, this continues to push further southeast. So Greenville's going to be getting it here shortly. The city of Commerce will be getting it shortly. How long before Garland? About 10 minutes. Not that far away, folks. Yeah, maybe 10 minutes in Garland. It's knocking on the doorstep in Plano. You're already getting in North Plano. So everything's building south and southeast. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Oh, there we go. We got another little confirmation. Some higher. There's 64. So verified 64-mile-per-hour winds in Little Elm earlier. That was at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're starting to get some ground reports starting to come in now. So verified at the surface, 64 miles an hour. So we talked about Little Elm, and I wouldn't be surprised we're going to get higher than that. But 64 miles an hour right now in Little Elm. That was at 159. Remember that pocket that we saw aloft, 85-mile-per-hour winds over Little Elm? Verified 64 at the surface, but probably some higher winds that we haven't been able to verify yet. But the flood warning continues to push through Flower Mound. So it looks like it's just started raining at DFW Airport. They picked up about 0.15 of an inch. They're gusting to about 38 miles an hour there at times. But yeah, here is the airport right here. So yeah, so the deeper reds are about to hit that area. And you've got this whole complex still has to come through. So the west stuff is now past Graham. So we've got a pretty good squall line that's moving through the city of Breckenridge as well. So that also has some blinding rain with it, and and some of those higher winds that are pushing out of Breckenridge. That's going to continue to push eastbound towards Graham, Grayford, eventually heading towards Mineral Wells as well. Hey, lightning like crazy right now. Grand Pal. Strong rain. Hey, if you recall last year, right? Remember when it rained a lot in May? From like May 20th to the first week of June, I think I saw about, what was it, 13 or 15 inches of rain. This is the time of year we get the torrential rains, and now we're starting to see some of the northwest flows. So these northwest flows are typically the ones that kind of hold together. They're not really capping inverted. They rely on outflow boundaries, which is what we saw today, right? Tonight, we saw an outflow boundary form ahead of it. This is your gust front outflow boundary. This is what's helping to push it further. All right, so they went ahead and did in fact extend this severe thunderstorm warning, which we talked about. So continues, the severe thunderstorm continues to push further south. So now it's going to include more areas to the southeast. So those areas into Kaufman, Waxahachie, down towards Terrell, out towards Greenville, the West Tawakoni area, Mesquite, Ferris. You're all going to get this squall line with 60 plus mile per hour winds that's moving in. So conditions are likely going to go downhill fairly quickly, and so you have that initial front. That initial gust front is into Dallas, so that's in the Dallas area, and so you're starting to see the atmosphere overturn Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth, into the Weatherford area. So it quickly overturns. We've got three or four different severe thunderstorm warnings now. Yeah, four. So we got four severe thunderstorm warnings now. Hey, Sandra. Yeah, peak winds at 55 miles an hour in Princeton right now. Mesquite, you're probably 20 minutes. You're likely 20 minutes away in Mesquite. Yeah, so they just went ahead and extended it. That's part of the severe thunderstorm warning and Prosper for further south. Hey, Time Warner still around? Oh, people have Time Warner? I didn't think they were still around either. Oh wow! I'm looking at the update. I'm at an inch and a half at my house. So yeah, inch and a half already at my house. It's down to 65 degrees, so that cooler air has now filtered in. But yeah, so very heavy rain continues into Frisco, McKinney, over Princeton. Princeton's taking a beating right now. Just very torrential, heavy rain over Lowry Crossing. Little New Hope. There's Melissa. All those intense lightning strikes that went through Melissa, Anna, through the Blue Ridge area. There's Hal, Tom Bean. All that's heading towards Trenton and to Blue Ridge, Leonard, the Frog Knot area. You are under that severe thunderstorm warning for those high winds. But look at all the rain building. I mean, this is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. This is why we have the flood watching effect. You've got the initial push that moved through that left a good 1 to 2 inches of rain already. You've got it continuing to build Gainesville, Sherman, all the way up to Wichita Falls and to Ardmore, southern Oklahoma, all that is building that still has to move through. And then you still have the western area that's trying to kind of bow out here. You see this? That's in itself is trying to bow out on the leading edge here. So those are some more significant winds are trying to build out of that complex and to Breckenridge. Hey, Summer, sorry you lost power, and Melissa. I'm definitely hearing a lot of reports of power out now into the Metroplex here. Dallas. It looks like there's about 8,000 customers without power in Collin County. Fannin County has about 1,100. So there's definitely pockets of some power outages up there. It's mainly, yes, Denton, Collin, the northern counties along the Red River are likely are getting some power outages right now. But yes, overall in Texas is about 20,000 at the moment from these storms, about 20,000 if you count all the counties. Hey, power out now in McKinney. Hey, wind calming down now in Oak Point. Yeah, so you're going to get that initial push of some higher winds, and then but there'll be more, but probably not as strong as what you experienced. And that tells you that, with the cool air, right? So you've got some of the cooler air that's moved through. That typically stabilizes the atmosphere, right? So if you're experiencing, if you walk outside and you feel the cooler air on you, you're in a more stabilized atmosphere now. So but you can still get the heavier rains that move through. Hey, let's look at some of the convection models now. Let's take a look at this together. This is some of your this is okay. So what we're doing here, this is your high resolution models, right? So this is a model. This isn't real time, right? So let's look at this. So this is about 3 o'clock in the morning. So this would be about 3 o'clock in the morning. So again, this is a model. This is your HRRR model right now. 3 o'clock in the morning still has complexes of storms highlighted over North Texas. There's 4 o'clock in the morning. So 4 o'clock in the morning, again, you get waves of isolated cells. So again, it looks to be fairly intense stuff if it does actually come to fruition. These complexes that are out west, right? That still has to move through. So it still has to move through the area. There's 2 o'clock, there's 3 o'clock, there's 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's 4 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, very heavy rain continues just north of Dallas. There's 5 o'clock in the morning. So you've got that's a squall line moving through Fort Worth, Flower Mound, McKinney. Again, this is model casted. This is what the latest high resolution guidances says that's still to come. 5 o'clock in the morning. This is 2:30 in the morning. There's 6 o'clock in the morning. So you've got this mesoscale convective system, right? This this bowing out feature. There's these more intense winds moving through Cleburne, Dallas, Plano. This is 6 o'clock in the morning. So 6 o'clock in the morning, Sulphur Springs, McKinney, Paris, Sherman, those areas in Gainesville, Ardmore, still heavy rain for them. Notice not much out in West Texas. And then you've got 7 o'clock in the morning. So you got 7 o'clock in the morning. The initial front continues to push further south now into Waco, Tyler, those areas into East Texas, eventually heading towards Longview, Shreveport, 7 a.m. So 7 a.m., there's 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're still around, right? You got McKinney, you got Dallas, you got pockets of still moderate rain still around. That's 8 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning continues to push through this wind threat. This wind threat continues to push Waco, Tyler, Shreveport, those areas in Southeast Texas, Palestine, Jacksonville, Nacogdoches, Mahia, Waco, those areas. So just give you an idea, right? So this continues to push through. You've got, again, bowing feature. This is what we were seeing, some of the higher winds. So there's not too many people going to miss out in these higher winds, folks. Everybody's going to get this. So you got the big mesoscale convective system diving into Louisiana, Southeast Texas, right? That's 9 o'clock in the morning. So 9 o'clock in the morning. There's 11. There's 11 o'clock in the morning. So it continues to push. Notice it clears out over the Metroplex. So, but we are expecting new activity ramp up in the afternoon. We've got more building out in West Texas. That's 1 o'clock. This is the 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's 2. There's 3. See it building in. We got the front stalled just along the I-30, I-20 corridor. We've got pockets of rain building in Brownwood, Waco. And then we got more rain starting to build back into the Metroplex. That's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. San Angelo, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Still more and more rain building. San Angelo, Brownwood, Killeen, Waco. This is south of I-20, Graham, some pockets into Fort Worth, Dallas. That's 5. That's 6, 7, 8. I'm looking at this the first time like you are, right? So that's again, this is just a model run. This just gives you an idea of maybe what's to come. So yeah, maybe this first complex is strong enough, again, let's run through this again, right? So this is 1 o'clock. This is around 2 o'clock where we are now. So this is pretty much where we are now with the storm complex moving over the Metroplex, right along over Denton, approaching into Dallas. That's more or less where we are right now. So that's 4 o'clock in the morning. This is 4 o'clock in the morning right here. There's 5. So we still got a couple hours left of this over the Metroplex. I mean, it's only 2 o'clock, right? So this is 6 o'clock in the morning, still over the heart of the Metroplex, Dallas, Cleburne, Plano, Denton, Sulphur Springs, 7, 8. Yeah, so a good probably a good 6 hours left, I would say. A good 6 hours left. Now, does it recover, right? So is the first complex strong enough? Does the front push further south that most of the rain is south of I-20? And then the stuff that comes from the northwest, is the atmosphere stable enough so it doesn't overturn? Because it looks like the first round, I mean, you see, we've already got a couple inches of rain already. We've had high winds. We've had, I've had an inch and a half of myself already. And obviously we still have another 4, 5, 6 hours left of at least some precipitation before it kind of clears out and moves southeast. So where's the front stall? Does it stall south of I-20? And does it build further south with the new activity in the afternoon? Does the activity from the northwest hit the stable air Does the atmosphere recover? Did we clear out enough all day? Does it recover throughout the day? So when the second complex comes in tomorrow night, so those are all questions. There's a long duration between these time spans of, say 8 o'clock in the morning and all the way through that complex in the wee hours of the morning, like we're talking about right now. But let's go back to live coverage. This is live radar right now. So we've got the severe thunderstorm warning highlighted over Dallas and portions of Collin County. Still includes McKinney, Frisco, Allen, Plano. Very intense lightning strikes continue for them. Carrollton, Flower Mound, Frisco. Yeah, if anything, we're starting to get more confirmed wind reports. There's a 60-mile-per-hour wind report at the airport, Dallas Airport. That's 3 miles west-northwest of Highland Park. So we had a confirmed spotter with 60-mile-per-hour wind gust as that was moving through. Yeah, so there's the FW airport right now. Yeah, it's 2:30 in the morning, but yeah, they're getting some very torrential heavy rains at the moment. Yeah, it looks like at last update, the wind gusts are 48 miles an hour at the airport. Visibility is down to a mile. So yeah, they're getting the thick of it right now. Hey, light hail in Princeton, no signs of rotation presently. Yeah, I haven't really seen too much hail out of this deal other than just some penny and yeah, any hail has been west. Yeah, this was mainly going to be predominantly a high wind threat and a flood threat. This is exactly how it's playing out. Everyone should ask one question at all, so we should all answer. I know. Hey, I get it. These lives, people come in and out, come from different areas. Some watch, they come on for 5 minutes, they could drop off. Some watch the entire time. Some people are just waking up, it just hitting their area. Yeah, I can confirm it's raining pretty good right now in Richardson. But yeah, wow, look at that. I mean, there's the brunt. I mean, Denton just really can't seem to get a break. I mean, they've been really under those higher winds for an extended period of time now. It still seems to be right over Denton, Corinth, Flower Mound, Carrollton, Bedford, Irving. We know we're at 48 miles an hour at last reported at the airport. So those are filtering a little bit further south now into the airport. Yeah, so this is the airport right here. Yeah, DFW airport. So they're getting some of those higher winds that Denton, and even if you that refresh there has just even expanded even more. Hey, in Dallas by Love Field, the power's out right now. Hey, watching from northeastern Oklahoma, it's raining pretty good there. Have to be at the airport at 6:40 for an early flight. Yeah, that's still about 4 hours away. I see Denton is getting pounded worse. Oh, God. Hey, is Melissa done for the high wind threat? I mean, we can't ultimately roll out you're done just yet. I mean, there's been, again, this pocket of energy still over Frisco. Could still build in. It's way too early to say anything's done because we know we have a lot more rain coming. Yeah, I'm even then I'm hearing some of the heavier rain pick up now at my house. Hey, South Lake here, seeing
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, Alexa thinks I'm talking to her. Hey, Wiley has no power right now. Pretty windy. All right, so there's Wiley. Yeah, I mean you're starting to see some of those higher winds push in. They went ahead and extended the severe thunderstorm warning. That includes your area as well as into Terrell, Coppin, those areas as it continues to dive southeast. And as we were looking at some of the higher resolution models, this will obviously continue to build and push southeast as well. Hey, I'm in McKinney. I've got no power, so I'm hearing a lot of people have no power, folks. I'm hearing a lot of people out there that don't really have any power right now. Yeah, typically, once daylight comes, you're going to start to see some of the tree damage out there, some of the roof damage out there, some of the fence damage. Hey, drop down to 67 and Melissa right now, 5 degrees in 5 minutes. Yeah, I've got 65 at my house. But yeah, that's a good 15-degree drop. Which that's actually normal. That's typically our low this time of year is around 65. So that's um that's where we should be. Hey, what's the update for Bailey? All right, let's put Bailey in here. Yeah, that's why I went out there to go see the Northern Lights. All right, so there's the city of Bailey. So yeah, you're just outside of the heavier rain here, but you're still getting some moderate rain just northeast of Leonard, just outside of the lightning strikes as well. So you're not going to take the brunt of it. But yeah, some pretty intense lightning still happening in Blue Ridge, Princeton, Farmersville. That's heading into Leonard. Those areas further south, especially there in Allen, Frisco. Sorry, Plano, Richardson. Again, right along 75. You've been on 75 tonight. It's been a treacherous ride. A lot of intense heavy rain over that area. But yeah, that initial push continues to build further south. Still pouring at the airport, Euless, North Richland Hills, those areas into Bedford, Irving. It's getting into Arlington now. So now it's changing over into Grand Prairie. And you can see the gust front. It continues to push. If anything, the spread it's even got to add ahead of it. I mean, you don't want it to technically get too far ahead. It might not extend it further south. So the but this is usually a good length. About 5 to 7 miles is a kind of the sweet spot, if you will, to keep this complex moving forward, moving further south and southeast. Hey, my flight in DFW was delayed 5 times until it was canceled. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, again, it's not just our area. You've got widespread areas of Texas and Oklahoma to Arkansas to Missouri to. It's a pretty big area. Flood watches, Louisiana. So you've got to and from flights. I mean, there's going to be a lot of delays today. There's going to be a lot of cancellations. Uh, there's a lot of weather happening today. So these airports is, and of course, there's a lot of people traveling today, trying to get home today. Friend just texted sirens going off in Salina. The sirens are going off in Salina. Remember, the sirens going off more than just tornadoes now, folks. They go for wind and hail. So if we're getting some higher winds in a place, it's not out of the question. They're not going to go off for wind. So they will do that. So the sirens are meant for, again, so imagine if you got a 65-mile-per-hour winds coming, you probably don't want to be outside. So it's just letting you know to get indoors. But yeah, there's the city of Salina here. I mean, I'm not seeing any rotation, but yes, you're locked into that pocket of potential higher winds. It's, I don't think you're likely getting 65 at the moment, but yeah, the leading edge continues to push the push into downtown Dallas and to Fort Worth. We got another little confirmation, some 59-mile-per-hour winds in the city of White Settlement. So yes, that's getting verified as well. Hey, I'm going to sleep. If I wake up with no roof or walls, it'll be tomorrow's problem. I just raining now. Finally started raining in Weatherford. All right, so there's Weatherford. Yeah, right along Interstate 20 there. So yeah, the leading edge is right along Interstate 20 now. So it extends all the way to Ardmore. So you got that whole pocket of some heavier rain, still a lot of lightning with it. But you can see where the atmosphere has stabilized back behind it with the cooler air. You don't actually see any lightning strikes up here. This is just some more rain that's moving in. Remember, the atmosphere, cooler air stabilizes the atmosphere, right? So this was expected with the after the initial push with the cool front. So how much, where's the cool front going to stall? Um, how much how much are you gonna regenerate in the afternoon, and then what's going to happen with the complex overnight? Yeah, so we're getting more and more reports of confirmed wind gust of 60 miles per hour. So yeah, some large broken tree limbs are down from a National Weather Service employee. This is outside of Irving. So just get more and more confirmation of some of those higher winds now, as some of the reports are starting to come in. Yeah, I mean, a tornado threat is just very, very low, almost non-existent. You never can rule it out, but again, this is a high wind threat. We've seen some high winds earlier. We've got flash flood warnings in place. We've seen a couple of inches of rain already. We got a couple more inches to go. We had the initial push that went through Denton and Collin County. Now it's in Dallas County. Yeah, confirmed water falling from the sky. There you go. How will the drive be in Houston? I think for the most part, it really doesn't make it to Houston. I think these push further southeast. But yes, it's definitely going southeast. This is mainly going to Louisiana, southeastern Texas, East Texas, Tyler, Longview, Shreveport. So if you got to go to Houston, you're probably going to be in the rain most all day until you get to Houston. So I'm not expecting it to impact Houston pretty much any much. Uh, Yeah, I think it does continue through 5 a.m. and beyond. We have that stalled front. We're going to be seeing new development, you know, mid afternoon time frame after this moves out about 8 or 9. It looks to be somewhat trying to move out by 8 or 9, but that's still another 6 hours away. So this is just a stack of flood warnings, which as expected has built further south now. So all right, so we got the flood warning now for, again, confirmed higher winds, 65 miles an hour. So brand new flash flood warning. So that storm that was located over Cattle Mills, Balch Springs area, Rendon, continues to dive southeast. Now we're warned for 65-mile-per-hour gust. So some stronger winds. So Cedar Hill, the Hutchins area, Duncanville, Rendon, Dallas, those areas, Grand Prairie, 255. So basically right on your doorstep. You're getting into Greenville, Club Lake, those Ferris area, 3 o'clock in the morning. West Tawakoni, Waxahachie towards 305. You're getting into the Willis Point area around 320, and the Kemp and Maypearl around 325. So expect conditions to go downhill. We've got more flooding rains continue to push through. This complex is leaving 1 to 2 inch rainfall rates per hour. So that's just the initial band. And then of course we got more and more building up north here. Yeah, there's no tornado warnings right now. I mean, we're not really expecting tornado warnings. Like, again, you can't roll out quick spin ups, just like what we saw yesterday in West Texas, right? We didn't really have too many tornado warnings that I recall, but we had 5 tornadoes. We had a couple brief touchdowns. We had one out here. So this is a very rain wrapped tornado confirmed by spotters in Amherst. Very small EF0 tornado, but it was still a tornado. And then we had those massive supercells, this giant hail, massive giant hail, 4-inch hail in Afton. And then we had a couple of reports even bigger than that of 5 inches, right? So there's a unconfirmed report of 5.5 or 6 inches with that hailstone I posted. I mean, some serious nasty hail out towards Afton. Ping pong, golf ball, baseball, softball, even bigger than that. But they had a couple of tornadoes. There was another one in the city of Afton, nasty supercell. And then we continued to move through, and there was another pocket of energy that built south of Hazlitt. So we had more confirmed tornadoes. So these are all small, but multiple reports of 2 brief touchdowns in Stamford. So 2 brief touchdowns in Stamford. And then there was another one in Stamford. So that was 5 tornadoes. They were all small tornadoes, but we had 5 just yesterday. Hey, White Settlement, insane lightning and rain right now. Yeah, so there's the heavier rains that were coming out of Breckenridge there. Right now have continued to push eastbound through Strawn, through Gordon. Now it's approaching the Mineral Wells area. So yeah, conditions are going to go downhill for you down towards Mineral Wells through Weatherford. So this is kind of the merge, if you will. As we talked about, I kind of posted about midnight or so of these complexes kind of merging together. So this is you can see the merge here. We're not that far away. You've got this one, and you've got the leading edge of this one. So these are gonna merge together. But if anything, again, this is running into some of that cooler air. So it's going into a more stabilized atmosphere. And this is why you're not seeing a warning attached to it, because it's hitting a little bit more stable air. So it's still going to be a big time rain producer. You're still going to have a fair amount of lightning strikes with it, but you're likely not going to see the higher wind gusts we were seeing earlier. Hey, quiet now and Peaster. Yeah, we're not that far away for it to merge. And if we switch radars, there's nothing building in West Texas. There's Lubbock, there's Midland, there's the Abilene radar. Not terribly too much building back behind it. Yeah, so the main push is coming out of Breckenridge, Eastland, Mineral Wells. That's all heading towards Weatherford. And then the leading edge is pushing out of Denton. We still got the flood warning in Denton. So continued moderate rain will continue to add up across that region. So 1.66. So I'm getting up there. So we're almost at the over an inch and a half, getting into an inch and 3/4. Yeah, I talked about the daily record was 2.31. So, they go from midnight to midnight. So it is one of those days. Most of this did not start until after midnight. So everything that falls, um, the airport right now has got 1 inch, right? So it's got 1 inch. We got torrential rains at the airport. So if you're looking at the airport, this is, you know, yeah, there's the airport. They're still locked into the reds and yellows here. So they're still getting some of that heavier rain. So yeah, the daily record's 2.31. So we've got a good shot of breaking that. So you got all the way till midnight tonight. So we're already at an inch and you got another 21 hours left. So, the way this setup hit from midnight to midnight, it's probably a good bet we might actually break that. So, and that was from 1957. If you recall, 1957 was a very, very wet year in North Texas. It was one of those years we had a lot of flooding rains. It was an El Nino year, so it's just the record from 1957. So it's pretty impressive if we break that from a pretty banner, one of the wetter years on record. Hey, you got 1.53 inches. Yeah, if you know how much you rained at your house, let me know. Appreciate the report. Yeah, type it in there in the comments. If you've got a weather station at your house, I've got a tempest myself. I love this tempest. Yeah, everybody in my family has the app on their phone, so they know they can tap into my weather station. Hey, storms are hitting Arlington now. Gusty, large, very heavy rain. All right, so now we're getting confirmation that those storms are now in Arlington. So you got the flood warning just to the north. So you got the peak rains, Dalworthington Gardens. Look at all those reds and purples here. So that's your heavy rains that's building from Denton, continues to push southbound. The gust front continues to push southbound as well. Still got a lot of lightning strikes over Arlington, Bedford, Irving, Carrollton, Flower Mound. A ton over Plano, Garland, over Allen. That extends into Nevada, into Lavon area, Farmersville, Princeton, Leonard. Wow, look at all these lightning strikes towards Paris. Hey, rain gauge showing 2 inches at Carter Ranch in Salina. Hey, appreciate the report, David. Yeah, that's a pretty good healthy rain already. So yeah, it really hasn't been raining that long to get, a good 1 to 2 inches already. And we know we got a lot more to come. So you got the stuff up north is slowly trying to drift. You even have this stuff out west is continue to move east, but it's likely moving just a tad northeast as well. So hey, I wonder what happens when the two systems merge. Yeah, they're definitely going to merge because one's moving east and the other one's moving south, so it's not that far. I Nothing really. It just be one storm instead of two. Really, it's not gonna strengthen it or anything. I mean, the atmosphere is stabilized, but it will aggravate the flooding concerns. That's for sure. Hey, wind has died down a lot in Princeton. Still pretty good rain. Yeah, that's typically what you get, right? You get the if you're in the unstable air, if you're in the muggy air, and you get the initial winds, right? It's taking advantage of that more unstable atmosphere. So once the cooler air comes in, then that's obviously going to stabilize the atmosphere. Um, so you're going to get the rain, no question about it, right? So how how much do you recover in the afternoon? That's the question because you have a front. The front's still got to stall. The front's got to move through. Where is it going to stall? Right. So is it going to stall I-20, I-30, Cleburne? Does it stall south of that? Does it stall in Waco, or does it stop right now and stall over the Metroplex? Right. So that is where that's the $1 million question. Where's the front going to stall? Hey, love the loud thunder. Appreciate you reporting. Our family is in an RV right now, watching it closely. Hey, yeah, no problem. I knew a lot of people tonight were going to be kind of worried with these storms coming in. Spotter reports tree limbs broken in Allen. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of that, folks. This is a confirmed wind damage in Allen. So yeah, tree limbs. That's pretty common in activity like this. So you're going to get straight line winds, some downburst winds, microburst winds. You're going to get just a lot of tree damage, shingle damage, fence damage for sure. A lot of fence damage. Probably going to be seeing if you didn't secure the lot, a lot of patio furniture in your pool and out and about everywhere. You might have some plants and stuff that's torn up if they were out in the elements. Hey, Linda. Yeah, appreciate the weather call notification. Sure. Thanks for signing up. Yeah, that's yeah, weather call is the service. I'll post the link again for those that have missed it. So of course it's optional, but it's pretty cool if you'd like to sign up. You get weather alerts. There's like 6 different warnings. They'll call you. They'll if you're in the polygon, if you're the only way you get notified, right? So basically it's designed you don't have to worry if you don't get a call it's not going to be in your area. So if you get a call, if your phone rings, you're in a warning, right? You'll get a text, you'll get an email. So it's a pretty cool service, 24/7, and it even goes with you out of town. So all you have to do is hit the follow me feature when you're going out of town, say for the 3-day weekend, and then when you come back, follow me back home. um, but yeah, you can have two different numbers on it. So me and my wife both have it. So as I was doing live coverage with you, I got two alerts, right? So we had the alert for the severe thunderstorm warning in McKinney, and then we had the alert for the flash flood warning. So I got notified for both of those. Hey, can you please cover Garland and I-30, please? So let's zoom in, folks. All right, so that initial band is moving through. There's Interstate 30. There's Garland. So you got the initial push of some of that heavier rains that's moving through the Garland region around 6:35. Uh, right there about Aldelia, Centerville through 66 and 78. So some of those, higher wind gusts are moving through that region, and some very heavy rain. Not terribly too many lightning strikes at the moment, but you're definitely getting the brunt of it right now, and the city of Garland as well as into Dallas, Highland Park, over downtown Dallas. All right, so you got all those areas into Swiss Avenue. The heart of downtown Dallas is getting those torrential rains right now. Lake Ray Hubbard into Rockwall. This is all approaching the I-30 corridor. Fate, Lavon, Nevada. Yeah, all those areas are moving through. And then it's further south into Arlington. The rain continues for the airport. They continue to add up to the totals. And then you got the stuff that's in Bedford, right? So Bedford's now getting some of that heavier rain. Weatherford, Azle, Springtown. There's downtown Fort Worth, the city of White Settlement as well. Really taking the brunt of it. Westland over I-820 area, Westover area. Then of course you got the stuff out west. You got a stronger cell out west into Mineral Wells now. So that's going to be approaching Tarrant County here. And then, of course, you got the flooding concerns back behind it. So you got more just light to moderate rain building back behind it as well. Hey, lightning just above my house right now in Arlington, loud thunder. It's really not that bad. Yeah, so it's mainly you lost a lot of the wind threat there in Arlington. Yeah, it's very, very heavy rain moving through Arlington, Dalworthington Gardens. There's Interstate 20 there. Wyling getting hit hard with a lot of heavy rain right now, Nancy. Appreciate the update. So here's the city of Burleson. So you had the gust front. You're probably experiencing some of those higher winds that move through. And then now you're right. Burleson's right on top of the radar site. That's where the radar is. So that's moving down the pike, down to Forest Hill, Fort Worth, Arlington. This is all moving your way. The gust front continues to hold its own, so it's still going to push through. That's going to continue to overturn the atmosphere, allow this to continue to move southbound. And then you have the second piece of energy that's going to have to come through as well. That's the second piece of energy from the west. A lot of lightning right now in Rowlett. Yeah, lots of rain in Wiley right now. I mean, if there's any rotation, folks, it's very, very subtle. We're not really, again, we're not really expecting, even along these leading edges, these little quick spin ups can't be 100% ruled out. But again, it's very, very low for any tornadic activity. This is mainly a mainly a wind threat, straight line wind threat, microburst wind threat, downburst wind threat. All right, so that's we got some more, just again, some more light to moderate rain trying to build back into to Denton County and Collin County, building back again towards Gainesville. It's been raining for at least a couple of hours now in Gainesville, really since before midnight. Of course, Oklahoma's been just taking a beating day after day. Hey, Morgan, I just woke up and to all these notifications. Yeah, so if you're just kind of waking up, this is a kind of a mesoscale convective complex is moving through the metroplex right now. These are fairly common this time of year, late at night. These are mainly a wind threat events. These are that congeal into a heavy rain event. You know, these mesoscale convective complex, I mean, they typically last, 6+ hours. That's a normal complex, at least 6+ hours, because they cover a wide area. Hey, appreciate the donation, Shay. Yeah, so these complexes of storms basically can kind of bow out. So that's when they bow out, they have the higher winds. That's what we saw, right? So we're going to probably see more of that. And then they just kind of, they don't really typically move that fast, and there's a lot of intense heavy rain with them, and the water content is really high this time of year, easily 1 to 2 inches. So it can do, you know, extensive kind of flash flooding and some heavier rains. So we're going to be seeing most of that. So I'd be interested to see what this line produces that's coming out of Mineral Wells. So remember, this is the western half. This is the second batch that's trying to move in. So how strong is it going to be? I mean, is it going to be able to intensify? Is it going to be able to bow out and do its kind of a bow segment feature as well? So it's starting to take that shape a little bit. It's starting to kind of look like that, as you can see what we're talking about. This is the bowing feature. So is that going to be able to extend? So does it hit this air mass and drop, or does it feel the effects of that cooler air, or is it enough instability to overcome that and form its own bow segments with higher winds? So yeah, that kind of remains to be seen, but it's starting to look like it's taking that more of a shape, but it hasn't really hit that more stabilized air yet. So hey, David, yeah, it's a pretty big bow echo. So this is what we're kind of looking at here. So this is always the beginning signs. And some of the high resolution models actually had it as well as a bowing feature. So and and that was towards that 5 o'clock in the morning time frame. So you would think it'd be weaker, right? So you would think it'd be weaker because it hits that more stable air, right? But remember, this was the cell. This is a complex that came from a pretty juiced up atmosphere out in West Texas, right? So this has got a lot of pent up energy still up in the higher levels. So how much is it left, right? How much of this is it going to be left from West Texas that we saw earlier? Yeah, just because this is an overnight event, I mean, you can still get some pretty intense winds out of these. I remember last year we had several of these. This is typically the start. I mean, we could have a lot more of these northwest flow type setups. We had some, if you recall, I think it was like May 28th, 90, 95 mile per hour winds in pockets from one of these type setups this time last year. So yeah, typically between now and the middle of June is when you get these setups. So we're going to go back to the, minus today on Tuesday, we're going to go back to these 30 and 40% coveraged areas. So right, so you're going to get these more isolated type of events. So you got today a little bit more widespread. You got the frontal boundary draped across the area. But then Tuesday, we're going to have storm chances pretty much all week long next week. So, and they're all going to be probably some that were in the vicinity of 30 and 40%, right? So you're going to get these isolated, isolated, isolated opportunities for storms. So usually those events, of course, not everybody gets it, right? There's only about a 30% coverage. It's typically a little bit stronger event. It's typically a little bit larger hail event, but obviously a less coverage event. So you get more and more people that miss out on the rain, but when you get the rain, you get the stronger storms. So we're gonna have more of those type of events next week. I haven't had Waffle House in so long. Yeah, it's been a while since I had Waffle House. Years. Hey, just hit Mesquite right now. Yeah, so this is actually interesting. So notice the new development further south, right? So you have new development building out ahead of the Gust front. So that's, of course, this air is very, very unstable here. This is the warmer air down here in Corsicana, Gun Barrel City, Athens, Tyler. But yeah, that's something new that we're seeing new lift down further southeast of Dallas here. Yeah, so it's 319, folks. 319 in the mornings. We had that first initial storm that moved through, and then that now that is pushing into the heart of the metroplex. It's over the city of Weatherford, Fort Worth, Dallas, Garland. All those areas are getting some of that heavier rain. Some of the higher wind gusts have subsided. It's not as strong as it was earlier. Starting to see some of that cooler air filter in. You can see where the most of the lightning strikes are is that complex into Mineral Wells. So it's still a ton and ton of lightning out here in Mineral Wells, Millsap, Gordon, Weatherford. Yeah, appreciate you tuning in to live coverage. Make sure you're following me on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thanks for all the new people that have just maybe discovered me, found me recently. I've had a lot of new followers lately. Hey, feeling like the line is just swirling around in Farmersville. Hey, Brittany. Yeah, not terribly too much of a tornado risk. It's very, very low. But, again, as we are into that severe thunderstorm watch until 5, the watch does include possible 1 to 2 tornadoes. You never can rule that out. So it's never going to be 0 in these events. But it's not like it's a higher risk event or anything like that. Hey, Rachel. Yeah, I would say it's going to stall somewhere in the vicinity of I-20, I-30. That's what I'm expecting. Once it gets there, and that may be what we're kind of maybe seeing is the slowing down of that cool front. So because we have development to the south, so this is a kind of a newer development that we're seeing. Yeah, but we know we have the front. We know what's going to stall. We just don't know exactly where it's going to stall. Obviously, the further south it goes, the further south the rain pushes. If it stalls, if it stalls where it is right now, then most of the metroplex is going to get overrunning type setups. Hey, we have our doors open, windows, air coming in pretty nice. Yeah, it's down to the 60s. I mean, yeah, you realize it was 95. It was the hottest day of the year so far today or yesterday. 95 degrees. Heat index topped out right around about 100. And that actually is, remember that one day we were going to be 100 and it just never made it because the like the dry line never went. We never got the dry air. We got the humid air. So we hit the heat index 100, but never got the actual temperature. It hit 94 that day. So yesterday was technically the hottest day of the year. But yeah, so the severe thunderstorm warning continues to push further south. You can see the gust front now in Cleburne. So now that extension pulls it into Granbury, the plantation area, plantation. So again, continues to push southbound, and some of those higher winds will continue to push in the Pecan Plantation around 3:30, the Cleburne State Park around 3:35, getting into Lake Whitney around 3:50, the Blum region at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that'll kind of give you an idea of what's to come further south as this pushes in. So we got the band coming out of Mineral Wells approaching Weatherford. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to evolve. See if we see some of the lessening of these lightning strikes as it hits some of that cooler air. But right now it hasn't really phased it yet. So we're just going to watch this and see if this is able to kind of congeal into more of a squall line, if you will. Hey, pal. Appreciate y'all tuning in to live coverage. Hey, 2-day-old vehicle getting a fresh wash. Hey, I know we had some rain, but we went there. These last several events that just didn't really pan out. And some of those isolated 30 to 40%, but this one was different. This was an 80% coverage event. So we all needed the rain a little bit. So most everybody's going to get a pretty good dosing of rain here. Yeah, so we definitely rely on our big rains in May because we know what's coming. The summer's about to hit. The taps are going to shut off eventually. The ridge will build in. So I would say we still have got a couple more weeks left of storms. Yeah, typically storm season, it can storm 12 months out of the year, but typically storm seasons March 15th to June 15th. That's pretty much the highest impact time frame. There's also a second season, which is typically the middle of September to October, and of course, at least the last couple of years, even December has been a pretty big stormy month because we've been pretty, well above average. So you get temperatures in the 70s in December. You can get severe weather even in December. We've had plenty of it. So, of course, you can get it 12 months out of the year, but you always have your more favored times of severe weather. And we're in the heart of it right now. This is May 26th. And what we're going into is a northwest flow type pattern. So we'll get these storms that blow up across the Rockies, right? So these are what they call northwest flow setups. You got storms that form east of the Rockies, right? So we'll have these convective complexes like we saw tonight build into Kansas and western Oklahoma and the Panhandle, and then they traverse across what's known as the northwest flow. So these typically dive southeast, and these are typically nighttime events. They blow up in the heat of the day, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and east of the Rockies, and they travel southeast, and then they form usually a convective complex. And then they have an outflow boundary that typically come out ahead of it, just like what we have now that keep them alive. So you start to see these types of setups in the month of June, which we're going into. So this would be an area that we're going to be watching going forward in the next couple of weeks of these complexes of storms. Some make it, some don't. Some survive the trip, some don't. They have to rely on an outflow boundary, and they're typically not really picked up by modeling that well. So it is one of those deals that a lot of models kind of miss out on, and they have to rely on the outflow boundary, but they typically do survive. If you can get an outflow boundary out ahead of it, they can survive a long ways, and they can be pretty strong once they approach an area. And they are typically high wind threats, microburst winds, straight line winds, and heavy rain threats. So we'll be watching for those type complexes as we get, over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, you can see the continued push. So yeah, the severe stuff, uh, you know, at least the warn stuff continues to push into Cleburne, Waxahachie, Ennis, down to Coppin and to Terrell. They're getting that initial push of the higher winds moving through that region, some of the heavier rains. No, there's no tornado in Dallas. Let me see if I can see in these 59-mile-per-hour wind in Fort Worth. Irving, 16-mile-per-hour wind. So we're getting some reports of some flooding just north of Carrollton. Some vehicles stranded on the road with some street flooding. So they've been under that flood warning for a while. Here's Little Elm, 64-mile-per-hour wind gust in Little Elm earlier. We got some tree limbs down just north of Heath. So I'm just reading some of these storm reports. Shingles blown off just south of Garland. Outside of Richardson, 58-mile-per-hour wind gust earlier. We got some branches down outside of Duncanville now. So I'm just reading some of the damage reports that are coming in. Hey, landed in DFW as preferred. Where are we at in DFW? So looks like we got about an inch and a half now. Looks like the strongest wind gust that I can find is about 48 at DFW. That was earlier. Yeah, but looks like about an inch and a half at the airport so far. All right, so now we got the kind of the heavier batch of rain moving out of Mineral Wells now. That is heading into Weatherford now. So it still seems to be holding its own there. Hasn't technically merged yet with the first system. But yeah, that continues to push eastbound. Hey, where's the hailstorm going towards in Fort Worth? Yeah, it's mainly just heavy rain, some high winds, not too much hail right now. Yeah, typically when you get a big coverage event like this, 80% chance, it's you typically don't get like big time hail out of those. It has to be it has to be an isolated event to get bigger hail. Those 30 and 40% coverage. I mean, those are the ones that a lot of people miss out on. I didn't get a drop of rain in my house. That's pretty normal in an isolated event. You know, it has to be isolated to have big hail. If you have events like this, when you got widespread coverage like heavy rain, you're not really going to get too much large hail with that. You can't rule it out. I mean, as I was leading with my forecast, I led with the high wind threat and the flooding threat. Then some large hail, and then the flash flooding was a big concern, and then the very low tornado threat. But it was mainly a wind and flood threat. So I can go back to sleep without any fear or rotation or towards Dallas. Yes, you can definitely go back to sleep. Yeah, it's never zero, guys. I mean, but yes, it's very low. Okay, so yes, I can't 100% rule it out. It's just very low. Yeah, I think tomorrow, as we get tomorrow, and a little bit during the daytime hours and with the stall front. But yeah, that's a new development as new activities, building southeast into the warm sector down towards Tyler, Jacksonville, Palestine. Um, yep, getting some scattered heavier storms. These are building up ahead of the gust front here. Hey, wind's crazy right now in Joshua, so you're getting that leading edge of high winds now. Hey, Steve, thanks for watching from McKinney. Yeah, so McKinney is still under the flood warning. So we got the flood warning for Collin County. So let's just give everybody up to speed here. So this was the storm. It's already dumped about 1 to 2 inches of rain. I can vouch for that. I live in McKinney myself. I've got almost 2 inches of rain, and yeah, so we've got the flood warning continue all the way to 6 o'clock in the morning. So we are expecting just waves and waves of rain with more pockets of flooding. So we've got kind of all this activity, starting to kind of merge and congeal together. You can see as this one's pushing into Bridgeport, it's building a little bit more the yellows and some of the reds starting to filter back into Denton. Yeah, the second storm is coming to Weatherford, so yeah, conditions are about to go downhill pretty quickly in Weatherford now. So you got the leading edge right along 51 there. There's Springtown 199, and there's Interstate 20. So there's Millsap and then Weatherford. But yeah, so you're probably gonna get some of that heavier rain move in the next couple of minutes. It's not that far away. We zoom in. There's city of let's see, Greenwood, Palo Pinto, Fort Worth Highway. There's Main Street, so right along into downtown Weatherford there. But yeah, if we switch radars and we tap into the Abilene radar, we don't really have terribly too much building back behind this. So yeah, the leading edge of the squall line is what you're seeing. Is this is down here towards Stephenville, Weatherford, Millsap. High wind moved through about 3 o'clock. Now wind mixed with rain and West Burleson. Hey Don, appreciate the report. Yeah, you got the gust front, and now that's well south of you. You're getting some of the higher winds. I mean, it appeared to be most of the intense stuff, even though we don't have reports up here, is was Denton. I would not be surprised to get some higher wind gusts that came out of Denton. See if I can see anything on the storm reports. Yeah, so there were 5 tornadoes reported yesterday, and five in Texas and one in New Mexico. All kinds of hail reports. Oh wow! So the official report from the National Weather Service, the storm reports, not verified, but yeah, 6 inches. That hailstone I posted. Right now, it's officially labeled as 6 inches. So that will be certified and for something like that, for that size of hail. But yeah, 6 inches yesterday. That's the biggest. That was at 5:10 in the afternoon. I posted it on my wall. Yeah, ended up being almost ball cap size. That thing was massive. Yeah, so a lot of big hail yesterday in Afton, Texas. That was Afton, Texas. But I was looking for the wind. Yeah, I'm mainly getting stuff that happened yesterday. Oh no, here we go. Okay. All right. So earlier, there we go. 68 miles an hour at McKinney Airport. So we had a confirmed wind gust of 68 miles an hour at McKinney Airport when that complex was coming through. That's what I mean. We just don't have airports at Little Elm, but I know we had high winds. But that's the biggest wind I can see, 68-mile-per-hour wind at McKinney Airport. Hey, power just came back on in Arlington, been out since 2:30. Wow, so about an hour. All right, so flood warning continues for Dallas and Denton and Collin County. My kids live in Van Alstyne, Texas, north of McKinney. They're fairly cleared out right now, so they definitely had some higher winds earlier. We got the push coming in from the west, so yeah, it's mainly a rain threat now. Hey, how's Cattle Mills looking? Let's see. All right, so there's the city of Cattle Mills. Yeah, so you're getting the initial brunt. So you had the heavier rain move through, and you're getting it still right now. So that's still going to be pushing through. You got a pocket of deeper reds, more lightning strikes back behind it. So you still got a pretty good soaking still on the way. Uh, yeah, so you're probably getting some maybe some 30 or 40 mile per hour winds, not terribly strong for you. But yeah, so a lot of lightning strikes, some heavier rain, some of the heavier downpours up there. But yeah, look at all this has just exploded down further southeast. That's definitely all new development here. This is out ahead of the gust front. So I'm still waiting to see what's going to come out of this activity. You can see the lightning strikes. It's still holding its own. So I haven't really seen terribly too much weakening from this complex as it's hitting some of that cooler air. But you can see some of the yellows and some of the oranges starting to pop back up over Flower Mound into Denton now. So this is also a new development. Some heavier rains trying to push back up further north, and some of those rain-soaked areas up further north in Denton. We got more rain continue to build into Gainesville, Sherman. Yeah, this is all south of Oklahoma, southern Oklahoma, getting into the southeastern Oklahoma. Had a lot of people camping up there towards the Red River and Broken Bow area. We're concerned about all the storms moving in, and rightfully so. But everything's pretty much coming to fruition as forecast. We talked about a high wind event. We talked about some flooding rains. This is all kind of coming to fruition here and into an overnight setup. We had a lot of reports of some power outages, a good 20 or 30,000 people without power at some point. Grayson County, Collin County, Denton County, further south into Dallas County. Oh wow. So we got more. We got 50,000 people without power now. So there's 50,000 people without power, and this is all of Texas though, but it's mainly these storms. It's these storms that are coming through, but 50,000 people. It was about 30 minutes ago. It was only 20,000 people. Hey, today is the anniversary of last year's weather event. Hoping it's nothing like that and some wind. Oh, yeah, yesterday or today. It was May 25th, May 25th, May 26th. Yeah, the event in Valley View and Prosper last year. This isn't that type of setup. There's nothing to worry about of that severity, but still strong, stronger storms for this time of year. Hey, Wiley, power outage 2, confirmed transformer went out. Power just came back on about 10 minutes ago. Who's ready for the 4th of July? I'm watching some chasers in that area. I mean, yeah, 50,000 is a lot, but that is the entire state of Texas. So there's Hey, will it make it to clean? Yes, absolutely. I think it will. This will continue to rely on the gust front here, and this will continue to dive, dive southeast. Oh, as I was saying that, you might actually be east. You might actually be out further west in Colleen. I was trying to vision it's more like this way, but you 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 might actually get clipped. I mean, you're on the borderline. This is going to be moving more south and then southeast, I would say. Hey, we live at 75 in George Bush, but are out of town for the weekend. Anyone know how hard they? Well, there wasn't much hail, Randy. You definitely had some high winds. We can vouch for that. Um, yeah. So if anything, you might have some tree damage, possibly some shingles, roof. It's not out of the question. We had some 50, 60, upwards of 70-mile-per-hour winds move through the metroplex. Hey, winds are ripping through 40 right now. All right, so there's the leading edge. We got that leading push in Waxahachie, the Ennis, Kaufman, Carroll. There's the city of Forney that he was talking about. But yeah, still a lot of reds and yellows and deep, not terribly too many purples mixed in, but yeah, some definitely still pockets of heavy rain moving through the metroplex. There's the gust front. Not as pronounced as it was. Definitely not as pronounced as it was. It's not as wide as it was. So I think we are getting the initial stages of it. Might try and we'll see if it moves past this Hillsborough area. Yeah, pretty heavy, right? Hey, Tiffany, thanks for watching. Here's Melissa right now, just getting some light rain right now. But we do have more trying to build in from the west. I think your heaviest stuff is as far as the wind goes. Hey, what do you expect later today? Are we done with the rain in McKinney? Hey Trey, yeah, no, I don't think we're done with the rain. We're gonna have a stalled front. It's gonna stall, and we're gonna have a lull. That's for sure. There's gonna be a lull, and but there's gonna be some pockets of waves of rain, and then possibly some heavier stuff that might move in tomorrow night. But most of this is gonna probably clear the area around 7 to 8 o'clock, I would say, somewhere in that vicinity. And a good piece of the day is probably going to be quiet, but in the afternoon, depending on where that front stalls, we're going to start to see more buildup. But a good part of the day, because you got to realize this is going to rain a lot. We're going to lay down a good 1 to 3, upwards to 4 inches in spots. So this is really going to clear out the atmosphere pretty nicely. But we are going to have that stalled frontal boundary. So how much does the atmosphere recover after it clears out? How much does it recover after an 8 to 10 hour lull? But most of the day should be somewhat rain free, I would say, as the atmosphere tries to recover. from all this morning activity. Hey, how are we looking in Grand Prairie? Well, you had that first initial push that moved through the Grand Prairie area. Now you're just kind of getting that residual effect. Definitely the heavier rains. We've got another stronger complex that's still off to your west. That's going to about to approach the Fort Worth area here shortly. So we still have all that has to move through. So it's been a while. Let's look at the updated model. So it's been another an hour or two. So let's look at some of the latest, newest high resolution models, which ultimately they really haven't been terribly crazy good because you can see the 4 o'clock update and it has a good part of McKinney covered in heavy rain. It's not even actually raining that much in McKinney right now. So um, so let's go back to the 3 o'clock one. In fact, I'm going to switch the NAM 3K because that one might be a little bit more realistic. So let's see, four. All right, so there's 4 o'clock. Not, I mean, I would say that's not that far off where it is right now. All right, so that's 4 o'clock. There's 5 o'clock. Again, it's kind of hinting at that squall line to come through that's building out there in Weatherford. Again, this is just a kind of a model run, just kind of gives you an idea what may be to come. There's 6 o'clock with that renewed push going through the Metroplex. This is the NAM 3K. There's 7 o'clock in the morning. Again, that push that continues to push through the Metroplex. 8 o'clock with that squall line down to the Waco, Killeen, Mahia, Tyler, Longview. That's 8 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning continues to push through Tyler, Shreveport, those areas. 10, you see how it clears out over most of Dallas as this complex pushes well south into southeast Texas. All right, so there's one. Does it recover? When does it recover? And it's still updating. So yeah, for the most part, both models most have it pretty stabilized. I mean, we go through a lot of rain between now and 8 o'clock. I mean, it's going to really clear out the atmosphere. Yeah, typically when you have two complexes like that, you're going to have one that could overpower the other, but it still could be the forecast. I mean, some areas we're expecting up to 4 inches. I still think you're going to get 4 inches, even if you just get the morning activity and not get another drop of rain the rest of the day. It's going to rain a lot. We still got more rain to come. So I'm starting to hear thunder back again. All right, so let's go back to live coverage here now. Yeah, you can see some of the heavier rain building back on over Denton. So these are areas that have already seen 2 to 3 inches of rain. So now we got just more heavy rain. Flower Mound, Corinth, Denton, Gainesville, Bridgeport. Hey, I was just driving near 380, lots of streets with no power. Yeah, so we're hearing more and more reports of people without power. Yeah, looks like 60,000 customers without power now. Hey, thunder just woke me up in Shreveport. So you're getting the yeah, you're under a flood warning there in Shreveport. It's already been raining a pretty good while there. You've got you got about an inch so far, and you're expecting another 1 to 2. Yeah, some of these areas are pretty saturated, so you're going to get a flood warning even for a half inch or 1 inch of rain because it's completely saturated. Yeah, that squall line wind woke me up a while ago. Yeah, I know it was definitely intense. Like I said, we ended up confirmation. I even think this is higher. We're going to get even higher reports once some of the data comes in. So, but 68 miles an hour in McKinney was the highest wind gust that we was able to verify at least. We know aloft, probably a couple of thousand feet aloft. At some point, we are hitting 86 around Little Elm. So, how much of that filtered down to the surface? But that's when we started getting more of those severe thunderstorm warnings in place for Denton and Collin County that pushed into Dallas County. And now we've got the one warned cell that's actually newly warned for that complex that came out of Mineral Wells. That's continued to move eastbound. That has a little bit more intensity with it. That's going to have to go through, you know, Fort Worth and Burleson, probably Dallas as well. But that's moving east, and it's also kind of moving southeast. So it's complex is moving east, but the whole movement is continue to kind of wrap itself over the metroplex. Hey, you're welcome. I know it seems later than this. I look up and it's like, no, it's still 4 o'clock in the morning. it's still 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, it's been a while, right? It's been 3 hours. I've been live for about 3 hours now, a little over 3 hours. Hey, lost power, and gosh, I'm hearing a lot of people without power. Hey, should I be safe to go to sleep in Valley View? Yeah, I think so. Good. I think the brunt of it is you're going to get a lot of heavy rain, that's for sure, right? So, but I'm not seeing. Yeah, it's mainly transferring to more of a flood threat now. Hey, Blaze. Hey, appreciate the super sticker. Thanks so much. Greatly appreciate you. Yeah, Encore is pretty busy too. Are we getting the high plains action in June? Yes, I think so. I think the ridge will build, and yeah, everything will go over the top. So everything's going north. I know I was looking at some of the supercell mesoscale guidance is kind of hinting at that second week of June building further north. And then you'll be looking for like derecho type of events up there. We haven't had any confirmed spin ups overnight. I mean, not to say that it weren't, but I mean, nothing that we could detect on radar or anything like that. This was mainly a high wind threat, you know, straight line wind threat. But look at the more rain building back into Little Elm, Corinth, Denton, Gainesville. This is definitely building back. We're watching the merge, right? This is the official merge. You see the merge starting to come together. They have now joined forces. They have now joined. And you can see basically nothing really happens. It just becomes one complex, and again, this is evolving to a more of a just a heavy rain threat. Hey, winds were pretty high here, Cheryl. Hey, Dallas County has 12,000 people without power right now. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the 60, it's climbing almost 70,000 customers now. Hey, curious how Granbury, Texas is looking. All right, so Granbury. All right, so you're in that brunt of the some of the stronger cell that came out of Mineral Wells there. Yeah, not too many lightning strikes in your neck of the woods, but yeah, some definitely some heavier, intense rains moving through. You are under that severe thunderstorm warning, but you see the back half of it is pretty much in Stephenville now. So yeah, you are. We are watching some live coverage here. We got a complex that went through the metroplex. This all kind of started around midnight or so up further north into Oklahoma and out in West Texas. Of course, they had a really busy day, but it started coming closer into the metroplex towards about 1, and then we had the complex that formed south and formed an outflow boundary, and it continued to push further south. And but if you can see the outflow boundary, there's actually not much left. It's definitely trying to, you know, lose its luster in a way. I guess it's not that's not moving forward as much as it was. So it's not nearly as pronounced as it was for sure. That could be, like I said, the first indications of it's trying to stall and slow down here. Insane amount of wind and rain here in Granbury, close to Toller. Yeah, that's the area that we've been on right here. This has been highlighted. Okay, so yeah, it updated. So you had that quick burst of wind move through. You are into that severe thunderstorm warning right now. Yeah, all the lightning strikes have shifted over your area, over Granbury. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. The cell out west, and they're merging. It's slowing the system down. So it's allowing this gust front, and that will lessen the push further south. So it'll still push further south, but not at the level like it was. Yeah, high wind right now in Kaufman County and Granbury. Storm shelter started. Yeah, you're definitely in the thick of it in Granbury. But yeah, look at some of the reds and the yellows starting to build back up into Fort Worth and Dallas. This is yeah, and over Denton. I mean, look at that. A lot more. This is actually getting a little bit stronger now over the metroplex as we speak. We're seeing a lot more lightning strikes starting to build further south as well. But even though it has transferred to a more of a heavy rain threat, we're definitely seeing a lot more yellows and reds and oranges starting to build back into the heart of the metroplex. Hey, staying in Granbury right now definitely was just hailing. Yeah, you probably had, you know, probably some nickel size hail out of that deal. Yeah, there's your pocket of hail that went through. Hey, rain picking up here again. Hey, Elizabeth. Yeah, 60-mile-per-hour winds reported in Dallas. Yeah, there's been a whole slew of those. Yeah, there's right there in Dallas Love Field there. Like I said, the highest one was in McKinney at 68 that we know of. But I know we had stronger wind gusts. 64 confirmed in Little Elm, but I would not be surprised if we get some higher reports out here. Hey, I'll be back in a second. All right, I'm back. How long before this moves through? Dr. Leach will work at 5. It's still going to be around by 5 for sure. It's still going to be a while. This goes through at least 8, 9 o'clock before a lot of this clears out. Hey, that morning coffee hit. I really haven't had much. I've been sipping on this thing for like 4 hours now. I barely ate. I know this is one of those days because I don't like really take naps during the day. So it's just one of those days. Not going to get much sleep. But yeah, look at that. It's yeah, this is all just kind of like I said, transfer into more of a. Hey, Rachel. Yeah, I think you can go to sleep. You can go to sleep in Forney. I wouldn't say there's terribly too much to be concerned about if you're home in bed. Gonna be a flood threat for sure. I mean, the highest winds have really pushed out. Doesn't look like they're going to come back. This is all kind of merging together. This is our last severe thunderstorm warning here. Yeah, most of the severity is likely going to push southeast. That's where most of the buildup is, out towards Tyler, Jacksonville, those areas. The gust front is even kind of petering out too. It's not, there's barely or hardly anything left. Yeah, so it's definitely slowing down, that's for sure. Hey Alexa. Hey, so Valley View should be okay to go to sleep right now. Hannah, yes, I think you're fine. You can go to sleep.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
I don't know what Alexa. Hey, thank you for being live. Hey, you're welcome. Yeah, no worries. Get some rest. Yeah, it's pretty quieted down in Granbury now. I'm about petered out. I know. Yeah, these overnight setups don't allow too much sleep. So I know. And I was kind of like after midnight. It's like, oh, great. Yeah, I don't mind when they start like at 4 or 5, but when they start at midnight like that, that's rough. Because I mean, obviously, you're looking at this stuff well in advance. It's finally like 10 o'clock. I'm like, I'm gonna have to lay down and at least get some sleep. So I slept about an hour and a half. Hey, it seems like a lot of this heavy wind has died down now. Yeah, you can. It's definitely transferring to the more of that flood threat, but you are getting some of that heavier rains moving back into Prosper, Salina. Don't be surprised if you start hearing more rain up there. So yeah, Little Elm back again, Gunner, Howell, you know, Gainesville, Whitesboro, Sherman, Denison. Yeah, all those areas they got hit earlier. You're still you got you still got more heavy rain moving through. So we're officially about 1.5 inches at the airport. So yeah, 1.5 at the airport. I've got I got over 2 inches now. So that's 2.06 now at my house. And it's about to rain again. Oh, Stormy abandoned us. I don't know. Yeah, she probably slept in for this one. Hey, I can't blame her. It is 4 o'clock in the morning, and it is a holiday. So we're watching the merge. That's why it is moving in opposite directions. That it's the merge because it's basically slowing down. So we're basically watching this evolve of like say the because here's your gust front, right? So you got the gust front. You had the merge, which was basically in this area right here, and so this is all kind of blowing up along, just north of the front. But yes, there are bands that seems like it's pushing further north. So it definitely looks like there's different directions that it's moving. Hey, appreciate you becoming a member. Thanks so much. But yeah, you can see there's just not much left. It's really fizzling out. There is nothing. So basically Hillsboro, that seems to be where it's going to be stopping here. Hey, look up South Metro weather. He does a lot of the weather in Waxahachie, Ellis County area. Is this the only system? Well, again, we're going to have the boundary, the frontal boundary is going to stall, and then you're going to have new development try to form along the frontal boundary. So that's what you're looking for in the afternoon. So it depends on where this thing stalls right now, depends on where the new development takes place this afternoon. But yeah, it's this is going to rain a lot. It's already rained a lot, so um, we got still more to come. We got more, again, more yellows and oranges starting to fill back in into Denton County and back into Collin County. But it definitely appears to be taking more of a northeast jaunt, at least if you're north of I-20. Hey Beth, yeah, I don't blame you. I would doze off, get some sleep, get some rest. Thanks for watching. Hey, Mineral Wells here. It sounds awful right now. That's a little new development too. You got some stronger action that blew up towards Breckenridge. So that's actually still building out west, moving into Breckenridge, into Mineral Wells here. Hey, is anyone able to find out how long it'll be without power in Lucas and McKinney? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine it's, you know, it's a Sunday, it's a holiday weekend, it's a probably a lot, probably dealing with a lot less people working. So it is one of those unfortunate things. Hey, Weatherford is in a light show right now. Pretty loud thunder and some rain. Thanks for the report, Donna. We got the light show in Weatherford. Yeah, flood warnings continue for Dallas and Fort Worth, Denton. We got heavy rains moving back into Collin County. Hey Jan, thanks for all you do to keep us updated. Your lives are always calming my anxiety. Hey, you're welcome. We're almost through storm season. We'll get there. We've got a couple more weeks. Yeah, lots of lightning right now in Toller. Yeah, so it seems to be building back up, and yeah, there's the Toller region. So yeah, we got a lot of intense lightning building south of 377 there. Hey Mallory, yes, it's safe to go to sleep. Yeah, no worries. Get some rest. Yeah, so a lot of lightning strikes happening in the city of Toller there, just south of 377. Yeah, then hurricane season. Yes, it's not that far away. It starts next week, June 1st. And I don't know. I've got my guesses. I'm thinking we got an in close development early on the season. I really feel like something develops pretty soon in June, actually. Yeah, typically early on in the season, you try to look for in close development. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. You get one of these like what they call Central America gyro type atmospheres, like basically a conglomerate of activity kind of builds down in the Caribbean. So, and that will just kind of drift into the Gulf. And so, yeah, typically then you have these cold fronts that drop further south. So, is that, sometimes these fronts can drop into the Gulf and you can get these little low level spin ups on the southwest tail of a front. So, but yeah, usually early on in the season, that's something you look for. Old stalled frontal boundaries that might drift and into the open waters. But it is one of those seasons that I think we do get an in close development early named storm. But yeah, the heavy rains continue to build in Glen Rose now, Cleburne, Waxahachie, still pouring pretty good. Can DFW GTS, what is that? GTS, Gust thunderstorm, get thunderstorms? Is that get thunderstorms? But yeah, we had the initial push that moved through with some of the higher wind gusts that moved through, and then obviously we're getting a lot of lightning strikes in a little bit of the warmer sector. But the atmosphere, has cooled off fairly nicely. So it looks like it's about 66 degrees officially. Almost 4:30 now. Oh, go to sleep. Yes, that. I know. That's probably my hint to stop coverage, right? So, I mean, because it's mainly there's no severe thunderstorms anymore. We got this one. This is we're gonna we're losing the gust front a little bit, right? So obviously this is going to continue to push further south, and we're going to have a rain threat. That's no question. We are looking for more development to build in. This is going to last probably through 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock, I would imagine. So another 2, 3 hours in parts. You're still going to get probabilities of more rain moving through. The stronger stuff is subsided. The cool down is here. So any stronger stuff is going to be further south now. So we'll have to watch where this front stalls, and it looks to be somewhere in the vicinity of within this region, just south of I-20 here. And then we'll watch for how much as the atmosphere can recover and see if we have any new development along the frontal boundary in the afternoon. And then we'll be watching another complex come in from the northwest. So does it hit that stable air? Does the air mass recover for tomorrow night's setup? It's something we'll be watching throughout the day. All right, guys. I know a lot of people want to get to sleep. So I know I do. All right. Hey, appreciate you watching for live coverage. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you all your support, your donations out there. Greatly appreciate it. Y'all get some rest. Enjoy your time off. Spend some time with the family today. Of course, I'll keep you posted here. So appreciate you watching. Y'all have a good night. Get some rest.